Welcome back to the Bhavcast. Today I got a fun guest in the room. Man, I met this guy in college, and then post-college, he went on a long-ass bike ride. 95 days, 5,775 miles, all the way from New York City to Swedeward, Alaska. Did I say that right? John Schwenck?
Not even close.
Oh,
but
man.
It's all good. It's Seward, Alaska. Yeah.
Seward. I kept thinking about, like, every time I read that word, I kept thinking Squidward. You know what I mean?
I always think of seaweed.
Seaweed. Oh, seaweed.
Squidward, seaweed,
Yeah.
Seward. That's the spot.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Thank you for coming here all the way from where? North Carolina you came?
Yeah, came to Philly from Charlotte, and last time I came to Philly, I had like a $500 parking ticket, so I left pretty pissed off. But I'm pretty. It's been a pretty good experience. So
Yeah.
thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. I'm trying to treat you like family. No $500 parking ticket for you this time.
Yeah, not even a car, so we're good.
To
We're all
believe it or
good.
not, you're the first guest to actually sleep in the Bhavcast studio.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, you've been very hospitable, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. But like, are you been getting any crazy dreams in this space or anything?
I don't really have dreams. I'll be honest. So I don't know.
Holy crap! No dreams, John.
Maybe I just don't get enough sleep. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, before we get into all this fun things, let's talk about this bike ride. Because this is, like, I don't know if you guys know. You don't know, because this is the first time you're meeting John. But I met John in college, and we were just having a great time. And then I saw on Facebook, he's like, guys, I'm embarking on this bike ride. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I think that threw a lot of people by storm. They're like, wait, like a
Yeah,
motorcycle or like what? Nah, with the pedals, like
Yeah.
the long way.
He
But
went on a full-ass bicycle. That's what I'm trying to say. 5,775 miles on a bicycle. So let's start here, John. Why did you do it?
So I've probably been asked that question like 1,000 times,
Yes.
and I still don't have a fully solidified answer, but it ultimately started like this. I was at my job out of college. I was there for about 3 years,
Yeah.
and I had a really good experience, but I was like, you know what? Ever since I was at Penn State, I always wanted to go back for grad school and do statistics. I've always loved statistics, and the more I was working, I realized like that's my thing. I really want to go. But my background at Penn State was in economics, so I didn't even I had to take some classes. Like it wasn't. I needed that extra something to get me there.
Yeah.
And so there was this program through the National Science Foundation that it would have like allowed for your graduate studies to be fully funded. And so I was thinking about that, and I'm like, oh, that's a good thing to apply for because graduate school is really expensive, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure. I got you.
but I realized I'm like, I don't have anything incredible. Like I don't have any significant story to tell. Like I'm a white guy who grew up in a very good school district, and like I kind of went through the motions, and I didn't really have I graduated Penn State, which is an amazing accomplishment, but it's not like there's also 40,000 other people who did that,
Of
right?
course.
So
Yes.
so I was trying to look for something that was really unique and something that really would push me, like not just for other people, but like what can I do for myself that would like really push the envelope.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking of ideas for this application, and I
Wait. Are you like? I heard rumors of this. Like when you apply to grad school, you need to be like, oh, I have this. Like I've done something great, right? And to get in.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. It's really hard. It's
I
not
believe
like
it. No,
you know what I
I'm
mean.
not
So
saying like, but I think like, why if we're just going to more school? Why do you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to be so extraordinary? Hold on 1 second, my guy.
well, the thing was, I had this. I started thinking about like different ideas,
yeah.
and when I was coming across like old pictures, and my junior year at Penn State, me and my roommates we went mountain biking in Colorado.
Yeah.
And at the end, I hold my bike up above my head. We're taking a picture.
Sure, yeah.
And I send it to my parents. And my dad replies back and he says, holy shit, that's the same exact spot that I took my like I took that same picture like 25 years ago.
That's awesome.
So he sent me back the picture and it's literally him doing the exact same pose.
Yeah.
Complete coincidence. Like I didn't realize it was in Golden, Colorado. And I was looking at that picture and I'm like, oh yeah. Like obviously I knew about it because my parents told me as I was growing up, but like my dad rode his bike from New Jersey to California when he was 25.
Yeah.
I was 24 at the time. And then my dad and my mom then for a second trip ended up trying to go to Alaska. That was like their goal. They wanted to go from New Jersey to Alaska and kind of go even farther. Yeah. And they started the trip and then I was conceived. I kind of fucked that all up.
Fuck you,
I know.
John.
So I kind of felt this like sense of obligation. I'm like, I gotta finish what they started.
You do.
And so that got the idea really in my head.
I love that.
And then I always say half jokingly, I'm like, I got to one up my parents, the old man, because he went from New Jersey to California, which was about, I think it was like 3,000 miles plus or minus a couple hundred. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'll one up him. I'll go to Alaska, which is like almost 6,000. And then I just started thinking about it. It started brewing in my head, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is a great idea for this grad school application. But like, even aside from that, like, I'm gonna quit my job, and I'm gonna have about 3 months, which is roughly 90 days,
95 days.
Yeah. Well, my plan was 100. I
just beat it.
I put 100 days on my calendar, and I beat it by
hell
5 days.
Yeah! So. Cheers to that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Love that.
So
beating goals that you set for yourself. Like, check this out. John already set a remarkable goal, right? And then he's like, "I'm gonna do it under this other goal." You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, it turns out I didn't end up getting that application that I applied for the
who cares?
The foundation. But that was my whole thing. I was like, I don't even care because honestly, like,
this one was
the
for
fact
your
that I
parents.
followed through on this goal that was motivated by this academic role.
I
was like, that's gonna, like, I'm gonna remember. I'm in 20 years. I'm probably gonna forget I even applied to the foundation. You know what I mean?
No,
but I'm never gonna forget the trip. So that really meant a lot. And then the other kind of part that was working in parallel was, for details I don't particularly want to go into.
Don't tell us.
Well, I have this like thing with my heart. And when the doctors told me about it, they were like, "Yeah, you can't do anaerobic exercise, which is like weightlifting."
Yeah.
And my whole life, I played contact sports, I lifted weights,
you played football.
I played football. I played
John,
rugby
he
at
was
Penn
a big
State.
boy. That's why I fell in love with him.
I was a lot bigger when I was still weightlifting.
Yeah,
I promise,
he was.
But,
no, he. I'm telling you, he was. Yeah.
So that was a real shock because I'm like, wow, well, doc, like, what can I do if I can't like weightlifting? What am I supposed to do? And like, well, you can do aerobic exercise. You just have to keep any exercise that keeps your heart rate high, right? So like when you bench press, right, you go all out. Your heart's like beating really hard, and then as soon as you take your 30-second break, you relax a little bit, it's going to come down, right? So it has this constant fluctuation, which for 99% of people, it's fine, but for what I have going on, it's like a little dangerous. So. She's like, yeah, you can do aerobic exercise. And I'm like, I wonder, that pretty much leaves 3 things. It's biking, swimming, and running.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I don't really like swimming.
Is it because you can't?
I can swim. It's like,
you don't have to lie.
What am I going to do? Swim across the Atlantic Ocean? What am I going to do that's like remarkable?
Okay, fair
know
enough.
What I mean?
Fair enough.
So I'm like, all right, swimming's off. And then running, I was like, wow. I could run across the U.S., I guess, but like that's gonna take forever. I couldn't do that in 100 days.
Break too many miles on your knees.
Yeah. And then and so I was like, yeah, let's do biking. Like I like biking. I'm not a huge cyclist, and then I thought back to my parents' trip and my dad's trip, and so I was like, connect the dots.
Yeah.
So it all kind of jived together. So it's a long-winded answer for why.
No, I love that. I also saw a picture. There was an old picture, maybe on your Instagram or Facebook, of your mom like taking a turn, and then you were taking that same turn, right?
Yeah. No, that was my dad. I know the picture you're talking about. It's a picture.
That person that was taking the turn in the older picture was your dad?
Yeah.
Did he have this long, beautiful hair back then?
No. There was a picture of my mom, and then there was another picture of my dad.
Oh.
There was like 2 different pictures in that Instagram post. Yeah.
Oh, so that wasn't you.
No.
Well,
Yeah, that was my mom, and then the other one was
similar.
my dad. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
So
yeah.
Shout out to the old rentals there.
Yeah, shout out
Parentals.
Schwenck family. I love you guys. You guys have such a cool name. Where'd your daddy get this name from, Schwenck?
So it's German.
It's like a tool almost. Like, can you hand me that Schwenck over there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a car jack. No, you got the Schwenk or whatever.
Yeah, just Schwenck it up.
Yeah, it's German. That my I guess it was my great grandparents on my dad's side, like on his dad's side. They were like stowaways on a boat, and they escaped from like not the Nazis or whatever. And but they weren't Jews; they were Germans. So, when they came to the U.S., they like totally wanted to like completely drop their culture because everyone at the time was like super, xenophobic against like German people. So they're like, oh no, and my grandpa's name is William, but my great I don't know what great aunt whatever my grandfather's sister, her name was Juanita because in my great grandparents' eyes they thought, what's a great American sounding name, and they're like Juanita, and so my family's like, that's the least American sounding name you could ever possibly think of. Like, why Juanita? But yeah, that's where the Schwenck name comes from. Yeah,
I love that. Them Germans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you can you speak German? Do anyone in your family speak German?
I think my grandpa at some point could, but I cannot.
You speak any other languages, John?
Nah.
How did you, when you were traveling across America, how did you communicate with the folks? All English folk?
Yeah. Because even through Canada, it was.
Hey, mate.
It was.
Canada,
They had like a British accent, and then like I guess the Yukon people were like native.
Okay, first of all,
Native
let's
American,
take
like
a step back. Holy shit. You said you're going into Canada. So what was your path of travel?
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? Let's say. No, let's even start behind there. What machine are you taking? What fucking tank of a bike are you taking?
So I actually used my dad's bike. It's a 1991 Cannondale.
Wow, that's older than us.
It's the same one that they used on the trip.
Wow.
But if I were to ever do it again, I would definitely get a new bike.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
a nightmare, man. This thing didn't even have like a front brake, at the end, and like it was a nightmare. I had the gear.
I was looking at
gear
pictures,
was all messed up,
and I was like, dude, what? Like, I was like, this bike looks old.
Oh, it's a fossil. At the time it was.
Now, did you just do
like
this for pride, or this was like,
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
It's just like that'd be so cool to like ride a 30-year-old.
Yeah, okay.
30-year-old bike
all the way up to Alaska. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, I love that story.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got this old bike.
Bike.
And I saw a bunch of pictures, which we'll put up here, but like you had like shit strapped to the front wheel, like a whole saddlebag system.
Oh yeah. So
what was all equipment that you brought?
It was like a huge learning curve.
Of course.
And again, I wasn't like a cyclist before this trip, right?
Yeah.
So like I didn't even really train that much. But
sure.
On the back you have two main pannier bags that are probably, I don't know, that big for whatever. If that's a good proportion, but like a foot and a half or whatever. And so I had two in the back, and they pretty much clip onto the back of the behind the seat. There's like a little platform.
Yeah. Like a seat buddy kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean it couldn't hold weight, but it's specifically for panniers. So you can hook your panniers on. And the back ones had my clothes, and then some of the this like research equipment that I had. So like as I was saying, I wanted to like kind of collect some data as I went.
Okay, I'm gonna write that in my notes. Let's first focus. We'll get back to the research.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm
No. That's good. That's
here.
a weird. No. The Bhavcast, John, is just one big rabbit hole. That's
just
why
a stream of consciousness.
Yeah, that's why I have this here because
perfect.
I love research. I love
Yeah.
development. I love that as an engineer. I love. Oh my God, you got me wet. Okay, go back to this bike and the saddles and all that. You know, on a motorcycle, they call that bar on the back a sissy bar. I got one on my motorcycle. It's like a bar that goes like this, and then it goes up so you can strap like backpacks and shit to it.
Oh, no way.
But we just call it a sissy bar.
That's funny.
Yeah. But that's I get what you're saying. I know that.
Okay.
Your platform
Yeah. So in the one I had the clothes, the other one I had my like research stuff, and then also like just bigger clothes like a sweatshirt and whatever. And then on top, so the bags hung off the side, like on each side of the wheel. And then on top I had like a kind of just like a utility bag. That's where I had my tools, and I had like snacks and just easy to get stuff. Oh yeah.
What are you carrying? What's your snack game, dog? Everyone needs to know this.
I think at the Jesus, man.
Go-to snack overall, average the whole trip. Give me top 3 snacks.
You know what's funny is I actually have the data on this because I did my FitnessPal, but I can't remember.
Oh, okay, go. It's okay. Okay.
I think it was like a Nature Valley bar, like the peanut butter.
Yeah, you love peanut butter. You know
I
what?
love
This
peanut
guy.
butter. I'm a huge
I was
peanut
making him
butter.
oatmeal, and then on the second day, he's like, "Can I add some of this peanut butter?"
Oh yeah.
And that's when I realized he loves peanut butter.
My wife hates peanut butter, so anytime I want a good snack that I know I can eat for myself, I'll just get a peanut butter.
Is she allergic to it, or she just hates it?
She just hates the smell of it. So I'm like,
shit.
Reese's, dark chocolate, peanut butter, ice cream, it's perfect. But anyway.
Oh my God. I love peanut butter too. I'm actually allergic to tree nuts. And the thing about Indian people is they love eating nuts because they're vegetarians. And that's not in a fucking naughty way, John. You get your mind out of the gutter. So the oils and nuts make you smarter. And I had like an Indian guy on here. He made this wine. And he was like, oh, like that's why you are doing you and I'm doing me. And I was like, ah.
Got it.
Damn.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Yeah, peanut butter. Peanut butter is great, girl. And okay, so now you got this bike with all this equipment. I must ask, is it weighing down this old antique bike? Like, how does it handle?
No. So Cannondale is a phenomenal brand.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal back then, and it's a phenomenal brand today. And the reason it's phenomenal is because you can go on a bike trip with a 30-year-old bike.
Yeah.
It's good quality.
Are you like doing any type of maintenance, like chain maintenance? Like, what is that like? That
So, although I didn't really do that much training beforehand, the one thing I was very religious about was completely disassembling the bike every day down to its frame. So I take the wheels off, I take the sprocket off, I take the pedals, like every part of the bike I would completely disassemble and then put it back together so that I knew what cable went where, how do the different gears interact? Like, how does the bike really work on a fundamental level?
So if something breaks, you'd be like...
Exactly. And I didn't need to rely on a mechanic for 2 reasons. One, logistical reasons. Like, if a mechanic's 100 miles away, when am I going to walk my bike 100 miles?
Yeah.
And 2, I don't want to have to rely on someone else and have them charge me an arm and a leg.
That's very an intelligent, forward-thinking... productive, like problem-solving thing to do.
Yeah.
I love that.
And if nothing else, it made me like
Risk
learn
management.
a lot about it. Yeah.
0.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I did that, and then I became like a guru at changing tires because I was get a flat. I don't want to spend an hour trying to fix.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So
how much YouTube videos did you watch?
There's a really, really good series by, it's the brand of the tool. I can't remember. It's
Schwenck
blue.
tools.
They're all like blue tools.
Schwenck tools?
I can't take credit for it. I can't take credit. They're too good.
Should we make bike tools, Schwenck bike tools, and just change the name?
Yeah, just total brand, assassination or whatever.
Okay.
No, any cyclist out there, if you ever see the blue tools, Park Tools.
Oh, shout out Park Tools.
Shout out to Park Tools. They're great. They're fantastic. So those, like they have like all these little things that you never thought you would need. Like there's this little, it looks like a thumb, right? And you stick it in, and it helps you like put the tire into it helps you put the tire into the rim, like the actual wheel.
Yeah.
And the tube and every other thing. So those are good. But yeah, you know, it was just like a lot of prep work on the mechanical side.
No, I love that as a engineer. That's a mechanical guy. But like I'm not a mechanical engineer. You guys know I'm an industrial engineer. Come on, Bhav Nation. I love that because I once with my motorcycle, the one of the battery, like it was like one of those fucking wires that attach from the battery to the engine, right? And like I can't see like that get up, right? But I knew like as I was riding, it was like cutting out. So finally one day I was like, I gotta take this to the shop because I had this bike parked here in this garage, and it's like on like we couldn't work on it here, you know what I mean? It was like bringing in like people with a car, they would charge you for that. So I just like rode it there, and like, when I tell you not, John, I got it to the shop. I went inside, told the guy the problem, like it's like skipping out on me, and he comes back out and it's dead. And I was like, oof. And then he just told me like, yeah, like they didn't like attach like the bolt too good. $300 for that.
It's crazy.
But I knew it was just like a little tiny, because when the bike would kick back in, so I knew it was like a contact issue.
Yeah.
So I was like, and it's just because I don't have the tools. I don't want to open the bike in this parking garage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing, like not having the tools. Like you're like, man, if I just bought, you know, if I just invested the $50 for the whatever wrench, and then I
know, I love that. Like you got all like, oh man,
and there's a lot of like trial and error. That's why I wanted to do it so much, because you're like, you know, oh, I need this tool, or I need that tool. The same way like when you're working on your motorcycle, you're like,
I barely work on it, but I just kind of knew that was the issue.
Yeah.
But it was just like this parking garage. I was like, it was in the summer, and there's mosquitoes, and they're just biting me because I have like sweet blood, and I just couldn't do it. And they're getting. I was just. All right, so you got this bike together, right?
Yeah.
And it's ready to go. You know how to do the maintenance. Everything's packed up. Did you tell me anywhere, like when you were describing on what's on each saddle? Did you ever tell me about a tent? Did you carry a tent?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I forgot the whole front of the bike. So the
Did
front,
you, or you might?
yeah.
Okay.
I had a tent. It was I don't remember the brand, but it was a good tent. And I had a tent and a sleeping bag, but the sleeping bag was like super compact. It was right.
Yeah.
And so and I eventually ended up getting a mattress pad. That was pretty clutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to be sleeping on rocks and shit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then also on the front panniers was where I had my food. But the funny thing with the front panniers is like I never practiced riding with front panniers.
That's what I was saying when it was awkward to ride.
That's
what I was saying. The handling,
huge difference.
Yeah.
So like when you have all that weight on the front tire, it's like more like riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Like, you don't turn like this. You turn kind of
Yep.
one way to another,
I got you.
right?
Yeah.
And that was a real wake-up call the first day. I was like, whoa, wow, okay, I got to get used to this. And I was in the middle of, like, New York City, you know?
It was kind of challenging. Then you got kind of respect for all those guys riding around delivering food.
Oh, yeah. With their, like, granny baskets in the front.
You know? I love that, dude. So, okay. So we're like, you're going to be camping. Do you have any type of background in survival? Were you a Boy Scout? Anything shit like that?
I was a Boy Scout.
Okay.
And my grandfather was he was like a scout master, so he taught like my dad and all of my uncles like all that kind of survival stuff. And then my dad was in the Army, so like the combination of like learning from my grandpa and my dad, even my mom a little bit. You know, she's a camper too. So but.
I love that. White people love to camp. I love that.
Yeah. It's a very white activity, I guess.
It's not white. I just love like the excitement that really like when I like see things when your parents come from a third world country to a first world country, and they don't go thinking about like I'm gonna go sleep in the woods.
Yeah.
But like you know, as like someone that's like loves the outdoors, I can understand camping. I personally couldn't camp as a child because I could only shit in my parents' bathrooms. Right. So that was a really big. I was like, nah. Like even people asked me to go camping, I was like, nah.
Yeah.
I need to poop at home. Like if I could maybe time like just one night out in the woods, I could do it.
Yeah.
No. But that's what I mean. Like you guys feel really comfortable pooping out there, and I love it.
It's like for me, it's more just like.
No, I know how great it can be. Like,
just
just living out there. I just literally cannot. I have so much phobia of just like taking a shit out in the woods.
Yeah.
And then like a fucking
Having a raccoon come and like.
centipede just taking
Oh
over.
yeah. Centipede will do it.
Okay, we got a little off track. So you got this bike now. You were starting in New York City because you lived in New York City at the time, or you made the trek there because you wanted like the map. Yeah, the map thing.
So, New York City is like my city. Like I grew up in New Jersey, right outside New York City.
Oh, wait. Just for the Bhav Nation, John Schwenck right here is throwing his name at that New York City is his city. Yo, you know who else's city New York City is? 6ix9ine, Tekashi 6ix9ine. You know, good luck competing with, you know who he is?
Not a clue. Not a clue.
I love that. He's this real crazy rapper. Let me show you real quick. I love you, dude. That's like I know.
By no means am I a rapper.
No. I love the like that. Like New York City is my city. I know what you mean. Like
Like I grew up yeah.
Because New Jersey kids can choose between New York and Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I got you. I got you. Okay, yeah. So go ahead. New York City was where you wanted to start.
Yeah, my city, I guess.
I love that.
But
I love that.
Yeah, so and so that was one reason, and two is like, you would be amazed how many people have no idea where New Jersey is, but you could ask anyone around the world where New York City is.
Dude, how many times is New Jersey in a song?
Not a lot.
How many times is New York in a song?
A lot.
Yeah, this is Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Oh yeah, he's like my brother from another mother. my brother in Christ. Isn't that what they say?
Yo, you and Tekashi 6ix9ine should go on a bicycle ride.
I'll teach you a thing.
Yo, Tekashi, you ever want to get fit? Hit up
like
John Schwenck. Yeah, no, he is a good dude.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic.
I gotta get my teeth like that though.
Yeah, we can get you some grills.
Yeah, I'll get grills and I'll do another bike trip with grills.
Oh, dude, that'd be so cool.
Yeah,
whole way shining, just shining the whole way.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be a little sunnier.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, so we're starting New York City.
Starting New York City, and first day is a mess.
Getting out of there.
The first day, first of all, it was, I was up all night packing and whatever, and going from like my hometown. I stayed with my mom for the night, and then going to my hometown. Going to New York City from my hometown would take, I don't know, about 45 minutes driving to get to Central Park. Maybe that's a stretch. I don't know. But for whatever reason, there was just a ton of traffic. And I wanted to be there like real early in the morning and get like a full day, And so I get there. It's sunny. Like everything's going great. And all of a sudden, like I start getting call after call from people trying to interview me, like, oh, like this is a cool story, like, so people start like ringing in,
like leeches.
Yeah, the leeches, like, yeah. And I'm like, it kind of set in. I was like, oh Jesus, man,
I'm doing
this. Is like, I'm doing this, and two, like, if I'm going to be doing these like interview, sets or whatever, like, I better finish, like put some pressure on you a little bit.
I love that.
So I was like, oh, wow, okay. Like really hit when I was in the car and like, you're going over the George Washington Bridge or whatever. And so whatever, I get in Central Park, give my mom a hug, and then she wishes me on my way. And I start. And I go probably a 1/10 of a mile.
Yeah.
And the sky just unloads rain. And it's like, imagine you're in your shower and you just turn it on full blast.
Yeah.
And it's like raining sideways. And I'm like trying to keep my phone dry. It's in a case. Like it's okay, whatever. But I'm trying to, wipe the water off, trying to see where the hell I'm going. And I'm like, man, it's been like forever. Like why does it take so long to get out of Central Park? I didn't realize it's this big. I know it's big, but not that big. And all of a sudden I start getting texts like from everyone like, where are you going? Because I had a website. There's a little backstory I forgot. I had a website that had like it pinged my phone every couple like minute or whatever, so you could see on the map like in real time. You could see where I was, right?
Yeah.
And so they're looking and they're like, where are you going? And dude, I end up doing a full loop around Central Park because I couldn't see where the exit was to get onto whatever street it was near like I don't know Upper West Side or whatever.
Yeah.
And I literally do a full like 8-mile loop all the way around Central Park because I couldn't. It was raining so hard.
Should we add 8 miles to that number? Is that what the thing is?
I think it's factored into it.
Oh,
because
okay.
I'd use this app called Strava, so you would
Shout
start
out
it.
Strava.
Shout out to Strava. You would start it, and then it would just clock your.
I love that. So efficiency. I love those programmers that made that. You guys are my favorite nerds out here. Respect.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you made this.
So
trek
I made
around
this
here.
whole loop,
Yeah.
and again, remember, it's pouring rain.
Do you have a
and
rain jacket?
this is the. Yeah.
Okay.
But what I realized at the end of this trip is anything that says it's waterproof is not waterproof at all. There's no such thing as like a fully stress-tested waterproof anything. I
You don't
promise.
think even my Columbia jacket is waterproof?
I'm telling you, if I took that on my bike trip, it would not be waterproof.
Shit, Columbia, that's a challenge.
I know.
For a man that went from coast to coast and up to where it snows. Yo.
Yeah.
That's a challenge, dog.
And remember, that was the first day I ever rode with front panniers on, right? So we were just saying how hard it is to steer. So I'm like going up whatever, Upper West Side, and I'm trying to like weave in and out of traffic, like completely losing control of the bike. And I almost missed the George Washington Bridge. And I'm like, how do I miss the George Washington Bridge? It's a bridge. Like, you know, like it's huge. Like, how do you miss that? And because of the rain, like it was so, it's ridiculous. And so eventually I there's this one guy who was just going for like a daily bike ride. And he's like, oh, you look lost. Like, where are you going? I'm like, are you asking where my destination is or where am I going today?
Oh,
he's like,
my God.
He's like,
I love
just
that.
where are you going? Like, what direction are you going? I'm like, trying to find the George Washington Bridge. He's like, all right, follow me. So we go across, whatever, and then all of the delays for the whole day. I get across the bridge. I finally get in New Jersey, and I'm biking, and there's wind in my face. It's raining. It's miserable conditions, and I end up at my dad's house. I was planning on going all the way to like the border, and like at the end of the day, I end up like right where I started.
Right.
Morning, I was like, son of a bitch, man. This is like this is a foreshadowing of things to come, you know? But the wind was actually so strong right before I got to my dad's house, maybe like a mile or two, that it like blew me into like the middle of the road. Yeah. And it was this part where there were like these three roads merging into one. And one was like a highway exit. So, there's like 3 lanes for that. And then there was another like 2-lane state road, and then there was a local road. And I just fall right over in the middle of all 6 or however many lanes. And like, I almost got killed on the first day. So
damn.
Like, all right, I'm ready. Yeah, let's try it again tomorrow. Let's start over.
So did you park up at your dad's house?
Yeah.
I love that. Because you're allowed to do that. It's on your journey path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
There's no hate in that. So, okay, you regrouped. You got a good shower. Did you put your clothes in the dryer?
Yeah.
Your mom was probably like, John, you did so good. How hype was your mom when you slept? Wait, hold on.
My parents are not together.
Damn it. I knew
But they
that,
were both
goddamn
very,
it.
very happy. They're very cordial. Like, there's no animosity between them. But they were both, like, super happy I even, like, made it out of New York.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, like, day one, check,
I should have known by the way you were saying, like, my dad's house. And yeah. God damn it. Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
it's all good.
So you stopped there, and then, like, all right, you refreshed. Morning
refreshed,
time.
yeah. New
what
day.
time did you leave?
I got an early start. It was, like, probably 8.
I love that.
I think. And then I was cruising. It was a good day, the second day. A lot of wind, but no rain. So I was like, okay, we're good. I stopped at my uncle's house. He's also like a big bike. Like he's really into mechanics, and so he's taught me.
Are you guys a family of like bicyclists? Really?
My uncle actually used to race bicycles.
Wow.
So and like everything I know about cars or mechanics or like how things work, it's probably from my uncle. He's huge inspiration just as much as my parents are.
Yo, shout out Uncle
Willie.
Willie, I love that. Shout out Uncle Willie.
So stopped there, had like a sandwich or something, and then kept going. And by the end of the night, I crossed into Pennsylvania. So that was kind of like a mini like lift my spirits because
victory.
it was 3 states in 2 days. You know, Obviously, New Jersey's small, but I was like, morale. And
Shout
and
out
then
PA.
and then I ended up doing like my first like ghost camping. So I just kind of be as stealthy as possible and just kind of hitch it into the woods, set my tent up, and then try to be out by like crack of dawn.
So let's talk about this ghost camping. I love that.
Oh yeah,
Man. How many times did you think you did that in your 95 days out on this journey?
so
If you can
it's
guess, I'm not asking.
hard to put a number on it because the thing is the trip, I consider it two different adventures. There's the lower 48, so from New York City all the way to Montana, and then there's the Canada and Alaska.
Okay.
I call it leg 1 and leg 2. Right?
Okay.
The second leg, I did it a lot. Right. I would just kind of pick a place to camp and
Because you're in
whatever.
a foreign country, right? Kind of.
Yeah, actually, Canada, it's like there's a law saying that it's encouraged, right?
Okay.
The U.S. there's not. It's kind of a gray area. It's just like just don't camp on private property, right? So it's kind of a gray area, but in Canada it's like encouraged. So I was like, okay, cool. So I did a lot in Canada. I did it a lot in Alaska, but in leg 1 in the lower 48, I did it probably the first 10 days. 7 out of the 10 days, and then after that it was mostly couch surfing.
Right. When you say lower 48, did you ride your bike through 48 states? Is that what you're saying?
No. So they consider like Alaska and Hawaii. Like when you consider the continental United States,
Sure.
you're considering all 50 states.
Okay.
But when you exclude Alaska and Hawaii, it's considered the lower 48 states. Like that's just
thank you.
like
Well, you're
like a
teaching
tidbit.
me and the Gam, the village back in India. That's what Gam means, village.
Okay.
It's all the people back in the Gam.
All right, gone.
You're-
Learn something new.
Exactly. So we're all teaching something. Like lower
Yeah, yeah.
48. I never knew
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah, that's like a term like I'm not just like it's not like a biking term. Like it's a formal like
yeah,
term.
I believe it. I believe it. You're
Yeah.
into like history and American history and all that. I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah, you know this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So lower 40. I'll just call it leg 1. Leg 1.
Yeah, I love that.
It was mostly couch surfing, to be honest. So I checked my journal and I crossed into Canada on day 50. Ironically, so like almost halfway.
Yeah.
Right. Of the planned 100 days. So yeah, I did a lot. Most of the camping was in Canada.
Yeah.
To answer your question. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: you leave New York. Is your path kind of like this? Like with my hand? Is your path kind of just like leave New York and kind of go like this?
Yeah, I followed Interstate 80 pretty much the entire way, all the way to Casper, Wyoming. Okay. So Interstate 80 is the interstate highway system. I might screw this up, but the even numbered highways, 80, 82, 88, 78,
Sure.
right? They all go east to west.
Okay.
And so the higher the number, I can't remember. One's higher, one's lower.
Yeah,
whatever.
okay.
But and then the odd numbers go north and south, right? 95. Right?
I did not, to be honest, even know that.
Yeah. So like I think 78 goes through Allentown, right? Or Philly?
I know like these roads and how they kind of.
Oh
flow,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
I didn't
the even
Yeah.
highways go east to
I
west.
didn't know that. Like
Yeah. And then the
no,
three number, like if
wow.
it's 478, it surrounds the city. If it's an odd number, like a 3 something, it goes through the city.
Yo, John, thank you.
My dad always says he's a map reading motherfucker. So
Yo,
he taught me about
Mr.
a lot about
Schwenck,
maps.
thank you. You map reading motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is actually I-80 right here, right? Like right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's
Yeah.
pull this up.
Yeah, so
Hold on. So okay. Let's just hold on. I don't know which one is good. Let's maybe this one. Okay. Go ahead. So you started in New York.
so started in New York City
Yeah.
and then followed it all the way. It goes right through Penn State, right? So you go through Penn State, goes through Pittsburgh, goes through Columbus, Ohio, and then it
Chicago.
weaves all the way to Casper, Wyoming, which is probably right where your cursor is, right near 29, I think, or 30. One of those two. And then from there you go like directly north to Montana.
This way.
Yep. And then right where it says Canada, you go north into Canada.
I love
right?
that.
And so Casper, Wyoming was really interesting because that was kind of the pivot point, both in a lot of ways. It was a pivot point morally, it was or not morally, but like mentally. It was a pivot point physically, and it was a pivot point environmentally. So environmentally,
I was about to ask you on this, but you're about to go into cold.
Well, the thing was, you think I started April 15th today, 3 years ago, right? So
wow.
So you think like as you get farther into summer, it gets warmer, right? But it just got colder. Like farther I would go, it got colder, and that's, I guess, poor planning on my part. But I got to Wyoming and it was snowing. Like it was 3 feet of snow, and so I couldn't. I was stuck. I was literally stuck there for like 3 days. I met a motorcycle rider, Jordan and Courtney.
Shout out Jordan
forever
Courtney.
in your debt.
Yeah.
I promise.
Let's
but
go on a ride.
They would love to go for a ride. They do like cross.
I love that. Come
country
visit
kind of
Philly
stuff.
sometimes. I'll put you on the pod.
But they just like had me, hosted me in their house, and I was super grateful. But it was just like it drove me nuts. Like it was nerve wracking because I'm like, I'm stuck. Like even if I wanted to ride, I couldn't ride, man. There's too much snow. Like my tires wouldn't,
Yeah.
And so at that point, I started thinking like, should I just change the goalpost? Should I just go to like California and then ride down the coast? Like I have this 100 days, and it really started to get in my head.
Yeah.
And that was a pivotal moment. That's kind of deserves its own conversation, I think. But
okay, I'll write it down.
yeah. But then
No, let's just do that right now.
Okay.
What happens there? What?
yeah. So the whole way up until that point, up until Casper, Wyoming, it was raining. Like in leg 1, it was raining. I used to have the number off the top of my head, but it was like 70% or something, like outrageous. 70 to 80% of all the days that I was on the road, it rained. And again, it was like downpouring rain. So it really gets in your head.
I believe it.
And so you really start to like
when the
doubt
sun is
yourself,
gone,
and
depression is fucking there.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
So
we're creatures of the light.
Yeah. And it just
sun.
disappeared,
Yeah.
And it was getting colder, and I didn't have warm shit, and all my socks were soaked, and so
baby.
yeah, I know my feet. But so I get to this rest stop, somewhere in Wyoming, and this guy's like, I go to the bathroom, and this guy's like taking pictures of my bike, and I'm like, I'm kind of used to it. Like a lot of people see it, and they're like, oh wow, look at this guy, like and so I get out, and I'm like, hey man, like how you doing? Just kind of giving him the shtick, telling him my story, like whatever, and he was like, yeah, I'm actually. He was a motorcycle rider, and he was like, yeah, I'm coming from a trip myself, and whatever, and so he was with some of his buddies, and he's like, okay, so, yeah, it was great meeting you, man. Just letting you know, there's like a huge blizzard coming through, and I'm like, okay, I didn't realize that. Like I do check the weather every day, but I didn't realize like it was coming now. Like I guess it came quicker than I was expecting. And so he's kind of like getting ready, and he's like, man, like you can stay with us if you want, but like obviously I don't have a car, so like if you can ride it. And at this point, from wherever that highway stop was to his house was another like 90 miles.
Oof.
And I already did like 70 miles for the day.
But is it in the correct direction? Or
Yeah,
okay.
it's on my way. Maybe it wasn't 90, but it was like it was a lot. Like it wasn't like
for sure. I got you.
And so he's like, yeah, I mean, like, I wish I could help you, man, but like, if you can make it to Casper, Wyoming, like, give us a call. Like, I'll be there. We'll host you. And this is Jordan and Courtney, the people I'm talking about.
Oh man,
and so Jordan's the motorcycle rider, right? And
shout out Jordan,
so I had him in my phone book, and I'm like, all right, I'm just. At this point, everything's spread out. It's not like the East Coast where you just go 5 miles down the road and you find a hotel. Like it's a commitment. So like if I'm gonna go all the way, like I have to go. And it was freaking me out that like who knows what this blizzard's gonna entail, right?
Yeah.
Like if I'm just frozen on the side of the road and I'm 100 miles away from civilization, like Jesus Christ, right? So
that's scary.
So I'm like, okay, like appreciate it, man. Like I'm gonna ride. Like I'm gonna fucking do it, you know?
Yeah.
And so so I just hit the road and I get there and they take me in with open arms and
Did you encounter snow?
Oh yeah. It was like it
How
started
cold did you
snowing.
get, dude?
The thing was it started snowing like right when I was getting into the outskirts of Casper.
Oh, okay.
Where they lived. So, you could see it was starting to accumulate on the ground and like I just kind of made it, right?
Oh, okay.
Just in the nick of time.
Yeah, so you're relieved.
And so, whatever, they let me shower and give me dinner and everything and then I look out the window and it's like, already 6 inches or something and
yeah.
And by the time I wake up in the morning, it's like there's no way I could ride.
Snow was a big killer to your.
Yeah, it was a huge like mental. I don't even know what you call it. Just
mental
like
hurdle, dude.
Hurdle. Yeah,
I was like, I
hurdle.
shred mad narpal, and people think shredding is so easy, especially if they skateboard. And I'm like, wait until that mountain hazes you. You know what I mean? Like snow is like unforgivable because we're creatures of the warmth as well.
Yeah.
Humans like to be warm and chilling.
Yeah,
we're not meant for cold. If you put a human butt naked in the warm or butt naked in the cold, we are not doing good in the cold.
Yeah.
I get that, dude.
Yeah.
Man, snow is a big fucking enemy of yours.
Yeah. And I didn't have the clothes for it either, So like
Yeah.
all my stuff was like frozen. Now that's kind of passing over some details, obviously, but
hit us with those details that you're passing over.
Well, like prior to why I don't want to like lose the mental sequence.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah,
the,
don't let me interrupt. Go ahead.
in like the viewer's mind.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
So that let me just finish off the kind of like the
go
pivot
ahead.
the
Yeah,
pivot
go ahead.
point,
Yeah,
right?
Go ahead.
So I stayed with them and it was great. They were awesome.
Yeah.
I actually went to a speakeasy, like a legitimate speakeasy
that's
where
what's
like
up.
the password and the whole, that's cool. They probably wouldn't want me to say that, but no one's gonna know the location.
Yeah, we don't even know where it is, dude.
Yeah. But so then I keep going, but I have in my head this like kind of ultimatum, I guess.
Sure.
I guess it's like an ultimatum in my head. I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it 5 days. And if this shit doesn't get better, I'm changing course. I'm going to California where it's warm, and then I'll ride Highway 1 all the way down to San Diego because one of my best friends lives in San Diego. So I'm like, okay, I'll kind of you go down, it gets warmer. You go up, it gets colder, right? So
But
I'm
then
like,
can you end in Alaska if you go down?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I was like, if I've dealt with enough, like if this doesn't get better, I'm just totally changing my course.
Okay.
And which was like really stressful because I had this website. I had like
a lot of people
GoFundMe, right?
Everyone.
A lot of people were involved and
Yeah.
and the reporters, right? So I was like,
Ugh.
it's a big burden.
I believe
you know what I
yeah.
mean, to like do that. So
did you expect all that extra shit, or did you were you expecting it, or was that you know what I mean? Like, did you think by you going on this cross country bike ride you were gonna get this type of notoriety, or no? Like when the calls came,
I don't know
was
if
it a
was
surprise?
necessarily notoriety.
No, I mean
but-
like just these people wanting to interview you and shit. Like,
Oh, that was the interviewing was a surprise for sure. But I liked it. Like I didn't,
of
I
course
didn't
you
mind
like.
it,
Yeah,
you know?
no,
Like
just
I
saying
thought it
with
was like cool.
I
never went on TV or
yeah,
whatever. Right?
no, I know. But like I'm just, it's just like that's
That was
added
surprising.
pressure. Yeah, that's
but
what I'm saying.
the GoFundMe and because I knew it was going to be an expensive trip. Right.
Okay,
like,
fair enough.
I don't have a job.
Yeah.
Right. At this point, I left my job because I knew I was starting grad school. So I had this time, and I'm like, if anyone can help out, I would be eternally grateful. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
And then not to mention like a lot of it was, just like with equipment and whatever.
Yeah, you gotta pay for maintenance and shit. I get it.
And so I had the website, and the website was a very like interactive thing where you could see all my data. So again, I was like collecting heart rate data from my Fitbit, and then my sleep data, and like all physiological variables, and then also like cycling variables. So elevation gain, average speed, max speed, all that kind of stuff. And then latitude, longitude, so you could literally see where I was like at given points. And then weather variables, so wind and precipitation, all that kind of stuff.
Love that.
And then so it was all on the website, and so people were following, and then it had the story, and like so it was a lot. Like, it was a lot for me to just totally change course
No,
and just.
no,
and
no.
just
I mean, because you personally don't want to let people down, but you.
And I don't even want to let myself down.
Right,
But I'm
right.
just like, that kind of should emphasize how close to my limit I was.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't deal with it anymore. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, that's it. Like,
John is a very tempered guy because y'all don't know him. I know him. If I went up to John and I just flicked his nose like this, I'd have to do that for like maybe 3 hours before he punched me. And he had to be like sleepy. He'd be like, all right, bro, I'm tired. And then I'd be like, nah, buddy. Right? Then you'd punch me. But it takes a lot to make this guy crack. So I understand that.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
It was like
Snow was your
at
enemy.
my limit, man.
Yeah.
And the rain and everything else. So I was at my limit.
Precipitation.
Yeah. So I gave myself these 5 days.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I get to Montana and it's spectacular weather.
I hear Montana's a beautiful place.
It's incredible. It's my favorite of the Leg 1 states.
Love you. Love
of the
it.
lower 48
Why do I
states.
keep saying love you? I keep saying love that. Holy shit, man. What the?
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. And there's Missoula, Montana, which is home to the Adventure Cycling magazine, which is they've been around forever. My dad used them. And so you get to get a picture if you stop by and you're on one of their bike tours. You can get your picture there. So if you go to Missoula, Montana to the Adventure Cycling, you'll see my picture there.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Bozeman, Montana, which is really cool. Kind of all the towns in Montana are kind of they're kind of hipster, but they're it's kind of like Denver, but without all of the craziness of Denver.
No, it's very outdoorsy.
Everyone's super into fitness. It's very outdoorsy.
Montana's one big old REI.
Yeah, one gigantic REI store. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. Yeah.
My sister needs to move to Montana. That's where she'll find her that's where she'll find her man.
Yeah.
Montana. My sister loves REI.
Yeah,
I just put the connection together.
Yeah. It's at first I thought they were before I started my trip, I thought they were very snarky.
Yeah.
Because a lot of their stuff's overpriced, but their mechanics are really good.
Of course.
And so the more stores I went to for bike parts and stuff, they were all really cool. But yeah, so Montana was great, and then I was like, all right, I gave myself the ultimatum. I'm not gonna just back out of it. So I said, if it gets better, I'll keep going. So I kept going, and then I went through Canada, and that was quite an experience with the Border Patrol.
Yeah,
that was a joke. It was such a joke.
I get to the let us
booth,
know. Yeah,
right. And I had bear spray and a knife on me, right? And they were, and so the guy's like, hey, passport, and I had a passport card because I didn't want to take my whole passport. And he's like, okay, do you have any, firearms, knives, or bear mace? And they're literally blatantly obvious on my handlebars.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have pepper spray.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, you're good. Jesus, man, that was way too easy,
Yeah.
they completely didn't give a shit at all.
Well, you are actually very smart too, because they were asking a question, and because if you would have said yes, I do, they would have had to take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you are just also helping.
I just answered the question with a question.
Yeah.
So, but
I love
anyway, that was really
that was a
street joke.
Smart move. That's what I'm saying. You got
yeah. But I just remember the feeling when I crossed the border and I'm into my trek, right?
Yeah.
And for the day, and I'm 20 miles into Canada. I just remember this really eerie feeling where everything's in kilometers, so you have to do all the math in your head. You're like, okay, how do I convert? And it's just weird, man. It's a really weird feeling where these cars come once every 30 minutes, but you're I just passed the border. How is it that there's only one car passing me every 30 minutes? You know? And it's it was a really eerie feeling. But whatever. The guy I stayed with
was it
that
cold?
night was really cool. So apparently he was related to the Queen of England or something. So it's like, huh, sweet, man.
I thought all white people were related to the Queen of England.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a bad racist joke. Hey, man, you can't win them all, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're in Canada. How about we take a pee break right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We'll take a pee break right there.
Be right back.
And we're back from the pee break. So,
Feeling like $1 million.
yeah, so we're just leaving off how the first leg was more like you learned about humanity, and the second leg was how more survival, right?
Yeah.
So,
For sure.
you know, we were talking about Nebraska. Where do you want to start off in the finish or start like really re-entering the first leg again?
So I think the biggest takeaway that
Yeah.
I had from leg one
Yeah.
was that it really opened my eyes into how just how nice people are. Like you see so much bad stuff in the news,
Yeah.
and you embark on this kind of trip, and you're expecting like there's going to be a lot of bad people out there, and time after time, all across leg one, like people proved that like they're just genuinely nice people. And like, for example, I didn't even lock my bike. I think I locked my bike one time in New Jersey, like when I was at a Qdoba or something. But like it was just because I like knew the area and I had those preconceived notions.
Yeah.
in my head,
What does that say about Qdobas in New Jersey? Sketchballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so America is real nice. The upper half of America.
Even the whole country, man.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't matter where you go. Like I went to like quote unquote the really bad part of Pittsburgh when I was riding to my buddy's house, and everyone was super nice. Like yeah, I mean there's some people that like you look at and you get a like a bad vibe, but still, even if you talk to those people, like they kind of like. So I remember there was this one gas station, and there was this one guy who's clearly, my initial thought was, oh, this is like a drug addict or, some like homeless guy who's gonna try to rob me or whatever.
Right.
And he comes up and he's just like looking at my bike and he's just completely perplexed, like what, like I thought, I'm sure the homeless guy was thinking like. I thought I was good at carrying stuff on my bike, and then like, look at this guy.
Right.
And so he's just like kind of staring at me. I'm like, hey man, how you doing? He's like, can I help you? He's like, oh, that's a crazy bike, And I'm like, yeah, dude. And I like ended up telling him the whole story, and like he was just like, oh, that's so cool, like. So it just completely changed my perception of other people.
I mean, homeless people love to listen to a good story. I'm not gonna lie.
Everyone does, That's the whole thing. It's like it doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, middle class, white, black, woman, man. Doesn't matter. Like
But if you're a man on Wall Street that's rushing around doing cocaine,
I'm sure you'd like to stop and listen to a story every now and then. I'd be willing to bet.
But not if you're on cocaine.
If you're on cocaine, maybe you'd have to wait till the crash to make you feel better.
That's what I'm saying.
Possibly.
Yeah.
That's definitely a possibility. But
we don't sponsor cocaine on this podcast.
I'd say a large majority of people are very good, and there's a couple bad apples that just spoil it for everyone else. But there were a couple like really really memorable moments in leg one that will definitely stick with me. And the one is when I was going to where was I? I was in Indiana, I think, and there was this guy who, again, I was using this like couch surfing app to kind of plan out like my day or 2 days ahead of like where I would stay generally, and I tried to figure out it's about 80 to 100 miles apart. And so, I asked this one guy, I'm like, hey man, can I stay at your place? Like I'll be out in the morning. He's like, yeah, absolutely. And he texts me and he's like, hey, when you get here, I got like a nice warm meal for you, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm free meal and a place to stay and whatever, right? And I get there and it's just sheer poverty at this place. It's like, it's this trailer park and you could just tell like it's a really poor area. And, he was the nicest guy I've ever met in my life. Wow. And like he had a book that had all the people who who were like riding their bikes and came through, and they signed their name.
Wow.
And because I guess for some reason he had something wrong with his leg, so he always wanted to do these trips, but he couldn't. And so he had this problem, and that's why he couldn't. I guess that's why he was poor. I don't know, but it had some factor to do. And his whole thing was he just loved cycling, and he loved these stories, and he wanted to host and make people feel at home.
Yeah.
And the dinner the warm dinner, it was like McDonald's. Like it sucked, but like the point was he tried. He tried, man.
Yeah,
like
I love that.
He literally went out of his way when he had absolutely nothing to make me feel at home. And like, I swear to God, I wanted to cry, man. I was like, that's like beautiful. That's a beautiful thing. And like, you have nothing, you know? And that was a really, that sticks with me for sure.
Well,
and
he had something. That's the thing. Like,
he had like kindness, man. He had a heart. He had a really solid heart. And like, I'll never forget that, man. That was really impactful.
Yeah. So where did you sleep? In the trailer? Did you pick your tent?
Yeah. No. He had like it was not like a trailer. It was like a mobile home kind of thing.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
Like
an RV.
Yeah. Like you ever see like the ones you couldn't like put it on a hitch, but like it's like they're raised. They're probably 20, 30 feet by 10 feet rectangle.
Kind of like
they're all cookie cutter. They're the same, like, but
they're kind of like a shipping container almost, like a house
size wise, maybe.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
You could.
All right, let's look it up.
If you like looked it up, like just look up like mobile home.
Mobile. That's what I was about to say. Mobile home. Yeah, I think they're just about the size of a shipping container. That's spelled mobile, right?
Yeah, like midway down first row. Like that first row with the pool. See that? And then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over.
This guy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's like the kind of houses, right?
Oh, that's not even like a bad. That's not even bad.
Yeah, I mean they're it is what it is. I mean that's what like mobile homes
it's like a ranch house almost.
They're like elevated, and you can put them on those like flatbed trucks, and you can move them. That's why they're called mobile homes.
Interesting. And like even if you look at this one, right? Like it's the same thing, but they just put like the
foundation,
the skirt.
Yeah.
They put a skirt right here.
Yeah.
And it makes it look all professional.
Yeah. So like they're
I think this is a home.
It's definitely a home. Yeah. But it's just like you go there and you can clearly tell it's impoverished, right?
Yeah, it's different.
But that was a big moment. Yeah. So there was that. Then there was also there was another moment where there's this one guy who was really pushy in that there was like it was somewhere in like Illinois, I think, and there was like a tornado coming or something, and he was really concerned about me, and he's like, "Hey man, like I'll pick you up, like like no worries," and my whole thing was I wanted to do the entire trip with my wheels on the ground. I don't want to take a ride, like that's cheating.
Yeah, it's cheating. Right? Yeah.
So, so I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, I got it. Please, like, let me ride, And he just was insisting, and like, eventually, like, he just drove, and I was so pissed. I was like, dude, like, I told you I'm fine. Like, I realized like there's a tornado warning, but there's no tornado. Like, let me fucking ride, man.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of overreacted a little bit, and then I realized like. He's just trying to be a really nice guy. That's just the Midwestern hospitality. It
is.
And I felt really terrible, and especially because he did like a big cycling trip. I don't know, like a couple states or something, but he just like I was like passive aggressive, right? Like I wasn't like an asshole to him. I was just like, come on, man, like it's all good. Like I'm good, right? And then I start talking to him, and I realize, like, the guy's just a really overly nice guy.
Yeah.
And so I felt really bad. And so then I agreed to go on. It turns out he was like a radio host.
Mm-hmm.
And so I agreed to like go on, and we had a great conversation. Like, it was just an example of like another like preconceived notion that turned out to be complete bullshit. You know?
Right.
So there was that. And then
Wait, so what was like the toughest weather condition besides snow that you ever faced?
in the whole trip or for leg one?
Leg one.
Leg one. I mean, it was just like the crazy rain, like rain and wind, because
rain
like
and wind.
it rains so hard that it's like blowing sideways, and on a bike, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've ridden
it impacts
a motorcycle
to an extent, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of, it's and it's harder to pedal when you're going right into the wind. So that just sucks. That's like it's exhausting. It's not not like dangerous. It's just exhausting. Right?
Mm-hmm.
On the second leg, there was like sandstorms, tornadoes, hurricanes, like every snow, hail.
So did you physically see a tornado?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Did it like?
It freaks you out. That's the one thing that freaks me out, because they go fast and they go in complete random. Well, not totally random, but you don't know where it's going, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, man! I'm on a bicycle. Like I can only go 10 miles an hour because it's fucking windy.
So John, but you know the safest place to be in a tornado?
Ditch, apparently.
No, in the center of it, in the eye. So the thing
is, just have it spinning around me while I'm pedaling.
So you gotta fucking go in there and penetrate the center,
all right,
and just stand there and just get off your bike and just kind of look up and just kind of follow where it goes.
All right.
Yeah.
Even if they're going 60 miles an hour.
You're fast.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll run with my bike.
Yeah, so tornadoes, man, that's crazy. I've always wanted to see one of those live.
Yeah, they're terrifying.
I believe it.
I think there was it was crazy, man. I think I experienced every natural, like crazy, not disaster, but like crazy weather other than like earthquakes.
Yeah.
I think that's like the only one I didn't see or experience. But
interesting. Did you see any really cool animals?
Oh yeah. I have a list of it somewhere, but it's like bears, elk, and moose, bison, porcupine, like all the grizzly bears and black bears, and then
all these wilderness animals.
Yeah, mountain lions, coyotes. Oh, yeah, wilderness animals. It's all just like natural, like animals.
Let me ask you: you ever encounter one of them where you have to fucking defend yourself?
So I never had to wacha anyone. I wasn't. They weren't aggressive, but they.
Yeah, because animals are peaceful. Believe it or not.
Oh, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing. Like the first bear I probably encountered like 100 bears.
Bears are funny.
Within like less than 10 yards from me. Right?
Okay.
And so the first one, it was funny. Like, you read about it and you're like, oh, you want to make yourself big and like jumping jacks and like scream, right? And like you want to scare it away. Like you don't want to like hide and run. Like you want to be the aggressor, right?
Right.
So I probably look like the biggest dipshit because I was just like like just going nuts in the middle of the road, and like all the cars are like looking at me like what the hell is this guy doing, and you eventually just see 20 of them and you're like, okay, not one of them did anything to me, so they're fine, and then you just get kind of comfortable but still like hesitant, but one of the funniest like bear stories was when I would go up like a really steep hill, I would just kind of head down, keep pedaling, like get in my zone, like listen to music or whatever. And I remember, as I was riding and I would get to like a gas station, a lot of times people passed me on the road and they would say, oh, I saw you on the road.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's the same thing. This old couple is like, oh, we saw you on the road before. I'm like, yeah, that was me, and they're like, no, you were the one that biked like 3 feet away from the mama bear and her 4 cubs, and I was like, what? I had no idea. Like, what
Yeah.
are you talking about? And she's like, yeah, they were like right on the side of the road. Like you just rode right past them. I'm like, I didn't even notice. Like I was literally like so focused and in the zone that like I didn't even didn't even see them. Like
she didn't even pay attention to you.
Yeah,
'Cause you were
they
just
just want to
going.
eat their berries and piss off. You know,
Yeah.
they don't care.
No, bears are so fun. They have personality.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, they be itching
roll around on the back and everything.
Yeah, itching their butts on the trees. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're crazy, man.
Yeah, they don't care about you, especially a mama bear with some cubs.
Yeah,
She's
you still gotta be a little cautious. But
I know, but like she knows what a road is, and you're kind of just a moving object on a road to her.
yeah, well, the other thing I think is that like in the really touristic areas like in Yosemite and Glacier and like all these like national parks in the U.S. that get so many people.
Oh yeah,
they get so comfortable, right?
Yeah,
that they can be aggressive because like I know what these humans do. I know how they interact. But when you're in like the Canadian Rockies where they don't see that many people, I think there's just this like universal fear of humans or whatever, and like the they kind of see a human and like, what the hell is that thing, you know? And they're like,
are
they're
bears
the cautious
aggressive
ones,
in like near Yosemite and all that shit?
Yeah. I mean, like every bear story you hear on the news is always like out of one of the national parks, and like granted, it's still a very very low percentage. Like this is kind of my point. Like it's all bad news, right? But like even the ones that it does like those attacks that do happen, they're generally in the they're in the national parks because they see people all the time. And people are idiots and they just give them food and take pictures with them and act like a bunch of assholes. So it's nature, guys. Like nature does nature things. So if you're gonna intentionally do that, they're gonna get pissed off, right? But if you're just in the middle of the Yukon Territory and the bear's never seen a human, you know, they're gonna be like, I'm getting the hell away from that thing.
Yeah, they're kind of like those bears in like Yosemite. They're almost like a safari bear, you know, because they're like used to people come through, kind of just like a Six Flags safari.
Yeah.
They're different versus just like a bear that's just minding its business.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I love bears. Bears are one of my favorite animals.
Yeah.
You have any favorite animals?
I mean, I do like I do like mountain lions. On my trip, I guess I like the mountain lion. That was like
Did you
really
like respect
terrifying.
it? Like
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what they do is they'll like crawl on like the cliff of a hill, and then they pounce.
Yeah.
So like they're stalking you.
Yeah,
right?
they're scoping you out.
Yeah. And so like when you're riding, there was a part in I think it was in either Alberta or British Columbia, and it was like next to a lake.
Yeah.
And it was a sheer cliff, like on my right side, like direct, like a vertical cliff, and so there's no escape.
Right.
Like I can't just, you know. And I'm going out. The worst part in a man versus nature situation is a trough of a hill.
Yeah.
Because you're at the bottom, so no matter if you go forward or backward, like you're it's uphill. Right?
Yeah, no, I got you.
And so like you'd be there, and that thing's just looking at you, waiting. You know, I'm like, holy shit, man! Like I just gotta like be ready to go, man. I had the knife in my hand, like I'm just gonna. It's just man versus nature. Like here it is. Like you know, I was fully expecting to go toe to toe with the mountain lion, but whatever. I guess I got distracted or something. But
no, they don't. They don't want you. He's just checking you out.
I don't know. I hear mountain lions are like really, really aggressive. Well, I don't know. I guess in my experience they weren't. But
animals, I think, have a vibe meter. You know what I mean? Like they can kind of tell. Like, all right, as long as you kind of just like look at them, kind of be like, all right, buddy. You and I, buddy.
Yeah,
just calm down.
All
right.
Hopefully, in the 100 or 200 years of modern society, they've seen enough guns to know that humans have a secret weapon behind them. You know, so maybe they're like, oh, maybe this guy's packing. I don't know, but
shit, dude, imagine being like the first line to see his whole crew get mowed down, just and they're just like, we're gonna leave you for the rest of them.
Yeah. I don't know. They're, but that would, They're aggressive. Bison were. I got a bison story.
Oh yeah, hit
all
me with a
around the
bison.
topic of
Yeah, please.
animals, but they're funny, man. They're stubborn
Oh yeah, bison are
as hell. So
rude.
they'll just sit in the middle of the road,
Mm-hmm.
and like they're enormous animals.
Yes.
They're probably to the top of my boot to the floor is like a small bison,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
And so they just they just like lay in the middle of the road, and cars are kind of honking at them, like whatever, and then they'll just like they got like the horns or tusks or whatever, and so they'll just like knock on the glass, and like it pisses all the drivers off, just like. They want to be mad, but they're like, I'm not gonna get mad at this like 2-ton bison.
Right. Yeah, because
And
it's
so-
dangerous for them.
Yeah. And so like there was a huge traffic jam because they just wouldn't move, and eventually, the cars keep inching closer, and eventually they kind of the waters part, right? And so the cars are going through, and I'm at the back because I'm the slowest one of the bunch, right? So I'm riding through, and the mama or whatever, the big bison just gets right in front of me and just like, you ain't passing. Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so I'm like, fuck, like, damn it. Like, I missed it, like now I got to wait for another car to come.
Yeah.
And, the one stands there, and then the rest of the bison fill in. And this U-Haul, like, throws it in reverse. Because I guess he saw, like, the window closing for me.
Yeah.
And so he puts it in reverse, and they split again. And then he's like, hey, man, like, you're trying to go through, right? Like, just like,
Yeah,
ride.
obviously.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. And he's like, just ride right behind the truck. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And so he's going, and I'm like pedaling right behind him, going like, 5 miles an hour. And I just feel the breath of these two bison, like,
Yeah.
a foot away from both of my shoulders, and it's like the hair on your neck is just standing straight, man. You're like, holy cow, man, that is a big animal, like I wish, because they didn't end it. If there was a moment for them to be aggressive, it was that
Right
point,
there.
but they didn't do anything. So I really wish it would have been a really stupid thing to do, but I really wish I got like a video of like how
Yeah.
close they were, because they were like mouth. Right there.
I believe it,
it's crazy.
dude.
Yeah.
Talk about border control.
yeah. Yeah. They don't. They'll just invade, man.
You
They
got
don't care.
lucky.
Yeah.
Dude. They let you pass.
Yeah.
Shit. Bison. I love bison.
Yeah.
Especially in my belly.
Bison burgers.
Bison burgers.
Bison burgers, man. That's a big Montana. That's big Montana food.
I have this note right here. It says Nebraska. What happened in Nebraska?
Nebraska was an awesome state for multiple reasons. Montana and Nebraska were the only two states that it didn't rain.
Oh, hell yeah.
The whole time it did not rain in both of those states. okay?
Lovely. You made a lot of productive moves there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what was really convenient was my wife, Eliana, and my dad decided to surprise me. And Eliana flew, and then my dad drove with a bunch of like camping stuff.
Right.
And he picked her up at the airport, and then they came in and met me they originally thought I was going to be in Iowa. Like when I first started,
Yeah.
they're planning. They're like, "Oh, let's go surprise John, on his trip," and they're calculating ahead, like in whatever, like 30 days, like where do we think he's going to be? Right?
Yeah.
They were picturing like Iowa,
Yeah.
and so she flew to Des Moines, and my dad was driving, right, and and by the time the trip actually happened and they were there, I was like already at the tail end of Iowa, so like the very, very end of it.
So you were
and
ahead
they
of
had
schedule.
to like take a day to like drive to catch up to me.
I
you know?
love that.
Yeah, so like I was like hauling ass, and yeah. So then we finally get to Nebraska because it's Iowa then Nebraska, and it was awesome because they would take the panniers off my bike and all my equipment off my bike. So I'm just riding a bike, like just
Finally.
a bike. It's like 150 pounds of shit that I had.
Yeah.
So that's a nice lift, right?
Yeah.
And so they would just throw it in the car. They'd go ahead, set up camp, cook some steaks and stuff.
Oh.
And then by the time I got there, like it was a full day of riding.
Yeah.
Right? So like I would ride for 100 miles, and then
Now
get
you're
to their
doing it
camp.
like a fucking celebrity.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
before-
you take my stuff, guys.
Yeah,
just
you
throw it
go
in
there,
Yeah,
cook
yeah.
some shit. When I arrive, I eat
No struggle,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got your lady there. You get some cuddles at nighttime. Now you're feeling like a champion.
Yeah, exactly.
I
man.
love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. So that was just awesome, man. And like they would take the.
Was that your
the gear-
favorite part of the journey? When you're
It was definitely like one of the favorites.
when your like friends
it
or
was
family
up
would
there.
visit you and shit like that.
Yeah, I mean it was a really special moment for sure. And and so it was like that. I think it was 4 days in Nebraska, and they did the same thing every day, and it was just awesome. Like every time, just riding light, and then like I'd have like all the food ready, and like I didn't have to worry about any cleanup or anything. So that was, that's whatever. I guess I was a little spoiled brat for those days.
No, you were.
But that was fun. And then there was also, that was Nebraska. But then also in the very beginning, my mom drove to meet me for lunch in Pennsylvania, like on the way to Penn State. And
shout out Penn State.
And so we had a good lunch. But I don't know. I can ask you offline. But there was a girl from freshman year on our floor that I think you might have known. But she was like real good friends with our friend group, and so it was really funny because she had a boyfriend who, by the time I did the bike trip, was an ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, of course.
And so
Aren't they all?
she coincidentally ran into me at the diner when I was with my mom, and I was like, oh, like no way, like nice to see you, and we were like briefly catching up or whatever, and then so then I left, and then I get to, I can't remember the town.
Was it like what did she look like? Redhead?
No.
Oh yeah.
Remember? Yeah.
I do remember.
So like I ran into
kind
her, I
of
was
gal?
like, no way, like I haven't seen you in years, so it was funny. And then I like finished the day out, and I'm like, I can't remember the town, but I'm like thinking of who lives in this area.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Boyfriend or ex-boyfriend lives here.
Yeah.
So I asked him, and then I like ended up staying with.
Yo, bros before
Yeah,
hoes
so
all
it's like,
day, right? Yeah.
It's kind of awkward, but it's cool, like whatever.
Don't you love that?
So yeah, those were two pretty special moments. When my mom came out, and then when Ileana and my dad came out, those were good.
Yeah, that's
good
fun.
times.
Yo, so okay.
Good times be.
Good times be. Hell yeah. And then we got good times be Chloe. We're gonna drip you and your lady out in that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we do everything over here. This is what we do over here. Whole ensemble.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whole ensemble. When you were camping out, did you ever cook food out in the wild?
Oh yeah.
So what did you have? Like, did you have a little skillet? Did you make a little fire? Then you had a little pan, or
Yeah.
did you hunt? What did you do?
So there was I had this kind of like a all-in-one. It had a dish, like a bowl with a pot that you could cook with like a spoon, fork, knife. Kind
Sure.
of thing, and then like a strainer and a couple other stuff, whatever. But you could unfold it, and it's a whole like dinner. You can unfold it, and it's a whole like dinner set thing. Right?
Interesting. It's a utility, just like that tool for your bike.
Yeah,
Just for
yeah.
cooking.
And so that took care of all like utensils, eating, like putting food onto a medium, right? And then I had this tiny, really high. I think it was butane. I could be wrong about that, but it was a tiny little like gas, like butane powered stove thing that could fold up to like the size of a golf ball, softball maybe. And so you just have a little thing of gas that hooks up to it, and then it'll like it'll boil water in like 5 minutes. So like it's super high BTUs, right? And so I would eat a lot of like non-perishable stuff like pasta and whatever, but
oatmeal.
Tons of oatmeal.
You love oatmeal.
Oatmeal, bananas, like all that kind of stuff, granolas. But in terms of like cooking itself, like I would kind of like every week or whatever, I'd kind of treat myself and go get like a chicken or something, like a chicken breast and cook it out. But then you always have to be like kind of weary, like, oh, what if I don't
do it?
If there's if there's not like water, like free flowing water, how am I gonna wash the chicken shit out of it? Because you don't want to. I don't want to get sick, But for chicken, what do you call it? Salmonella or whatever.
Like a real live chicken?
No. I mean, like if I cooked the chicken in the pot.
Yeah.
And like I would just generally rinse it out and scrub it. Like I didn't have like.
This is an interesting thought. I've seen this on TikTok. You wash your chicken before cooking it? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying like after I'm done cooking it and all the chicken residue, like it's raw chicken, right?
Right.
So like you throw the chicken on and then you cook it and then there's still like
on the pan
chicken residue and shit. So like if you accidentally eat, like say I keep it there, right?
Right.
And then I make oatmeal the next morning.
Yeah.
And I mix that with the oatmeal.
Oh, right. You have to
eat
clean
it.
the pan.
I can get really
right.
fucked up.
Yeah,
right?
I understand that. After you cook chicken, you got to clean the pan.
So like I have to really scrub it, and then like to do that requires a lot of water, and like I don't. If I have a finite amount of water on me, like,
exactly.
I don't want to just waste half
I
of it,
understand. Yes.
So like if I had access, like if it was like a public park or something, and they had like a fountain, then I'd be like, all right, I'll ball out on a little chicken.
Interesting.
Something. Yeah.
That's wow.
So. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I think that kind of hit the key points of the leg one, the lower 48. I'm trying to think. There was.
No, hold on. We have to go back to this map.
Oh yeah.
Of I-80.
Yeah. Oh well, I guess there's that too. Like you're not legally allowed to ride on the highway until I think Indiana, maybe, or maybe Illinois. I don't know. One of those like Midwest states. So once I was like legally allowed, I just rode on the highway, man. I was like, scenic routes are great.
Yeah.
But I was on a mission. I was like, I'm finishing this goddamn trip. So I just went on the highway.
Now, okay, so you get to Canada. How do you I thought Alaska, you have to take like a boat to get there.
A Juneau, you do. The capital of Alaska.
Okay.
So Alaska is a giant chunk of land, and then there's a really long panhandle that goes almost all the way down to Seattle, like near Vancouver. You could actually see the very, very tip of the panhandle in that map.
Is this it right here?
Yeah, I think so. If not, it's like right above that. But
hold on. Go ahead, keep telling me.
Yeah, so so the route after I got off Route 80 and I started going north and I got through Canada is I would take it's actually called the Alaskan Highway.
Yeah.
That's a really cool highway. That's actually how they would build military equipment during I think World War II.
Right.
And the Army Corps of Engineers built the Alaskan Highway from Dawson Creek. I could be messing this up, but I think it's Dawson Creek, Alaska, all the way down to I don't know. I think Dawson Creek might be in Canada. Can't remember. But the point is, it's like 1,400 miles, and it goes almost all the way to Fairbanks. So I wanted to, I was like, oh, that's a cool milestone. I could say I rode the entire Alaskan Highway on a bike, right?
Right.
Okay, Dawson. Okay, see it, Dawson Creek at the bottom. In the green. So there's Alaska, then there's that Yukon territory where it says Whitehorse.
Yeah.
And then right below that in green.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, Dawson Creek. So you take that all the way up to pretty much Fairbanks in Alaska.
Okay.
Up
here.
That is 1,400 miles.
Wow.
Give or take.
Wow.
And so just to put it in perspective, right? So like I think from New York City to the border was like 3,500 miles or something. So it was like almost half of what I already did.
Now, when you got to Alaska, was it snowy there?
It was incredibly hot.
No way.
Yeah, it was.
I thought Alaska, like, there's penguins and shit.
Well, yeah, all the way in the Arctic there is, yeah. But I think it was like an abnormally hot year because they had a lot of forest fires, wildfires, just natural occurrences or whatever. But they, a lot of that was going on, and so they, it was like in the 90s. I think it was really hot, and they also there's also the thing called the 30th parallel, which this map doesn't have it, but the unique thing with Alaska is in the summer, the sun doesn't set.
Right.
And in the winter, the sun never rises. Right?
Isn't it like 6 months on, 6 months off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so right at the equinox, like the longest day and the shortest day of the year, it's complete darkness or complete sun.
Right.
And so around the time that I was riding, and I crossed into Alaska on July 4th. So at that day, which has a story in itself, but that day it was, I think it was like 18 hours of full sun.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the remaining 6 hours was like a sunset. Pretty much it would be sun, and then it would dip, it would kiss the horizon, and then it would come back. So I actually ended up going, I became like nocturnal for like 3 weeks.
Oh, that's
like
cool.
legitimately nocturnal. Like I would go to bed at like 10 in the morning and
Yeah.
then wake up at like 6 in the afternoon, eat something, and then be on the road at 8 because there's no construction, there's no wind, there's no traffic, there's no, the weather is generally pretty good. You know, it's cool, it's not too hot. And you just have this eternal sunset that you're looking at. So one of my favorite pictures from my trip is there's huge, I mean, the Alaskan mountain chain is enormous. So you have a massive mountain on the left, a massive mountain on the right, open road, no one on the road, and it was like 3 in.the.morning, and it looked like it was 6 p.m. Like the sun was setting, like it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was an incredible like thing to experience. I'd say on the entire trip, my absolute favorite part was the Yukon Territory.
Mm-hmm.
Probably for that reason.
So where is Yukon on here? Oh, I see.
That's
Up
directly
there. Fort Yukon?
directly east of Alaska. Actually, that's still part of Alaska. So the orange where your mouse is, like the orange, that's still Alaska. And then the lighter orange, where it says Whitehorse, right? Whitehorse is the capital of Yukon. Right above it says Yukon Territory.
Oh, okay.
So it's funny. The whole population of the Yukon Territory, I think, is like 40,000, and 38,000 of them live in Whitehorse.
Whoa.
So like the rest of that entire land mass is just barren, or it's like I keep saying Native Americans, but they're obviously not Americans. So whatever. What do you call them?
Just native. Indigenous people.
Indigenous, yeah. The indigenous tribes, yeah. Like the native Canadian Eskimos or whatever, right?
Oh.
So, yeah, they were really cool, and they were really nice.
Yeah. Because they're just people of the land. They see this boy coming on his little bicycle.
Yeah, they're not as innocent as you might think. I was telling them about this one guy I met. I was telling him how like I wanted to collect license plates from like Alberta, British Columbia, Alaska, like so I could make like a kind of an artwork thing where I have all the states in order of that I traveled. And I'm like going into this one store in the Yukon to get a license plate, and the guy's like, "Hey man, why are you buying it? Just take it off this car, man. There's a car right out here." I'm like, I don't know, man. I made it this far. I kind of want to finish it out without going to jail. He's like, "Nah, dude, you just unscrewed it, man. You're good. You get a license plate real quick, man. It'll take you 30 seconds. I'm like, I ain't doing that, man. I'm sorry. Like, obviously that's a one case scenario. It's not all indigenous people, but it was just so funny. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I guess I could just jack a license plate off some guy's car, but I'd rather not.
You rather not. That's not.
Yeah.
When you got to your destination, like, were people waiting there? Like, what was that like?
That was kind of depressing. I'll be honest. Like I mean, I don't blame it. It's a very difficult
place to show up. Yeah.
For a multitude of reasons. One, you'd have to fly to Anchorage, and I went past Anchorage. Yeah. So like Anchorage on the map, you see.
I see it
right.
There. Yep.
Now see that little leaf-looking island right below it. I was at the very tip of that.
Wow.
Okay. So like you would have to go, like you'd have to rent a car, and you'd have to. the flights are really expensive, and it's like it's not an easy thing.
It's
right?
extra. It's extra.
It is very.
They've already
extra.
visited you.
Right.
Yeah,
So
you're
like
not
all my family saw me. Right. I saw my mom, my dad, my, my uncle, my like all friends and whoever. So like, I felt I didn't want to push it because I'm like I understand it, right? I completely understand why it's such a burden, like a hassle. To
Yeah,
get
of
there.
course. That makes sense. Look how far that is out there.
Yeah, and so I, whatever. I didn't really push anyone to come, but it was like a very like depressing.
Anticlimactic.
It was
thing.
maybe not depressing.
Yeah.
It was anticlimactic. 'Cause I get there and I'm like, yeah. Shit, man. There's no one to like celebrate it with. You know what I mean? So that kind of sucked.
Was there anyone like what was your actual destination? Like was it like a pier or something? Like what was it?
It was a campsite right on the water, right at the very edge of Seward.
Okay, and then like so when you got there, when you like finally pulled up to the edge, like just no one was around you.
Yeah, it was like
just
fuck. Yeah, damn it, but but again, it wasn't for other people, it's for me.
Exactly.
So like I didn't really.
Did you take a minute and chill? Like what did you do in those moments?
Oh yeah. I
Did you camp there? I don't know.
Yeah. I camped there. I actually went to a bar at the edge of town before I got there because I was like, all right, like, I'm just gonna drink a couple beers, just relax, enjoy. I'm dip my fucking feet in the Pacific Ocean, right? Like I started in the Atlantic, right? So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna relax and just hang out. And so I stopped at this bar and I just wanted to pick up like a 6-pack or something, right? And she saw like I was wearing this shirt, right?
Yeah.
So like they don't see a lot of people in Seward, Alaska wearing bicycle shirts. So they're like, "Hey, buddy, like you lost? Like what's going on?"
Exactly.
It's like, it was like 11 at night or something, right?
Right.
And so they're kind of looking at me and I'm like, "Nah, I just finished a bike trip. Like I'm just looking to buy some beer." And they're like, "Okay." And like naturally they ask like, "Oh, like where are you coming from?" And as soon as I said New York City, everyone at the bar started like buying me drinks and I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." So it's kind of like it was cool. It kind of represented the whole trip because it's like it was me doing the whole thing alone for myself, to achieve something by myself.
Yeah.
And not only that, but to like really get ingrained into like local culture as I went along the way. Right? And like I didn't do any like touristic stuff, right? So like the whole time I was just really living the life of like the people who live in these places. So like that was actually a really cool moment because I'm like, all these guys, like, they don't know anything about me, but like they're just supportive, and like I finished and I'm like, this is cool. Like this is so it made up for like that shitty feeling in the beginning, but it was definitely a good night. It turned out it went from kind of a anticlimactic night to a very good night.
How long did you like sleep after like you finally felt like you were done and you can rest for a minute? Like, did you have your first good sleep back at your dad's house or like that?
Oh,
night?
you mean when I got back? Like
I don't know. Like, when did you finally have like that first? All right, this is done. Sleep.
I got you. So, I'm in Alaska.
Yeah.
And the flights back are exorbitantly expensive, and for whatever reason, I don't understand this, and maybe I was just misinterpreting the rules, but I'm bringing my bike back, right?
Yeah.
So little by little, I would go to the post office and ship a box of stuff back home, right? I was trying to get rid of as much stuff as I could so that I could essentially just bring the 2 pannier bags as like backpacks and then bring the bike itself, and then everything else should be home.
Oh,
right?
I thought you were shipping pieces of the bike back.
No. But to get a bike box to like get it shipped, if you do it from Alaska because it goes through Canada or something like that, I could be wrong. Don't hold me to it, but there was some weird stipulation where like it just added so much money to the flight that I couldn't justify it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking. I'm like, all right, well, where am I gonna go, man? Like I'm here. Like I'm not gonna bike back, right? So
why?
I had to get to grad school. I had 100 days. It was 95 days.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
Still focusing
I'm
on
on a
grad
time.
school,
I'm time's ticking, man. Right. So I'm
Holy
like, how am I
fuck.
gonna get back? And I'm like, okay, well, I looked. I'm like, okay, there's a ferry I can take down to Seattle.
Okay.
And I can fly Seattle to Newark. It was really it was cheap-ish, right?
Okay.
It was cheap enough. So
You're really good at transportation, by the way. This guy like just trained here from the airport. I was so amazed that even that was offered.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
you said Uber. I was like, it's more exciting to take a train. You know?
I love that.
But yeah, so I'm looking. I'm like, okay. I'm trying to formulate a plan in my head. I'm like, I can fly out of Seattle. That'll be cheap. The bike box is cheap, and there's Seattle's all into like cycling over there. So I'm
Right.
like, I can just go to a bike shop and they can do it for me for pretty cheap, right?
Right now, I got you.
And so I'm like, okay, the next step's to find how I can get down there through a boat, right? So I'm looking at the ferry and I'm like, dude, these are like crazy expensive prices,
Yeah.
like $2,000. And I'm like,
Whoa.
I would have to, and I'm looking at all the rules and like, I'd have to set my tent up on the roof because it's like meant for cars.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'd have to set my tent up on the roof, and it's, as I've already explained, I had a bad track record of the rain.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that sucks. Like, and then I have to pay for all my food, which I'm sure was expensive.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't stop. So like, I couldn't even go to Juneau or go to like any of these places.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what about a cruise?
Oh.
Norwegian Cruise Line. $600. $600. You get a bed, all you can eat food. They have shit going on every night. They stop. They had like 4 stops. They go to the glaciers
Oh my
or the
God.
ice, the whatever. Yeah, the glaciers. And I'm like,
Easy.
all right, that's the easiest decision I've made of the whole trip, right? $600 for everything or $2,000 for nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
So I did that, and then I took the cruise down to Vancouver actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it stopped in Juneau and a couple other really cool places. Juneau is actually my favorite because I had a bike, and you
Yeah.
can only access it by boat, right?
Right.
So think about it. I'm the only person who has a bike on the boat, and you can only get to Juneau by boat.
What is Juneau?
It's the capital of Alaska. It's actually right at the edge of the green, right at the panhandle of Alaska. So you're all the way at the top. Go down, go down.
I'm trying to look for the cursor. Where is
Oh,
this?
yeah.
I found him. Okay.
Yeah, so go down, keep going, like 5 o'clock, down.
5 o'clock.
Yeah, down. You're
No.
close. Hotter. Right there. See the words right next to the cursor? Juneau.
Oh yeah.
It's the capital of Alaska. But you can only get there by boat.
Interesting.
It's like an island or it's something weird. I don't.
Yeah.
Geographically, I'm not sure. But think about it. The only way you can get there is by boat,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm the only person on the boat with a bike.
Yeah.
So I'm the only person in Juneau with a bike.
That's cool.
Right? So
Yeah.
I just went who doesn't live in Juneau.
Right.
So I took my bike and I just went like on this huge hike and this trail, and like
Yeah.
they gave us like 3 hours. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna haul ass, man. Like
Yeah.
I all my stuff's in the cabin, so it's just the bike. And so I was like ripping around all through Juneau. I went on these like really cool hikes, and Juneau is actually, that whole panhandle is cool because it's considered tropical climate. So there's different layers, and like as you go up the mountain, you see it starts off with like kind of a jungle feel,
Yeah.
and then you go higher and higher, and it gets more and more like sparse, and then you get to the top, and then it's like Alaska mountains, and you're like,
Yeah.
this is so cool. Like you see all the different kind of like ecology and like, or I don't know if that's the right word, but like all the different plant life and species, habitats, right? And so that was like a really, really cool experience, and like that was definitely the highlight of the cruise, right? And so it went down to Vancouver. Vancouver is an absolutely spectacular city, very
Right.
clean, really. I don't know, it's just an awesome city. And so I took a train from Vancouver down to Seattle, and then I stayed with my buddy in Seattle for a couple days, and then I flew back. So that was the conclusion of that was like the post trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, my one buddy Madison, Madison,
Yeah.
he's gonna get a kick out of this cruise thing.
Yeah.
You know, now that you're using a cruise as a utility, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
That was
I never in a million years would have done a cruise otherwise, but I was like,
yeah.
I'm like, I should at least try it once in my life.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect opportunity for it. And it literally was like the cheapest way to travel. at the time. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that. You
And
know
then
what I
where
mean?
you took the cruise to what? Seattle,
Vancouver.
Vancouver,
And then Vancouver, I took the train to Seattle.
and from
It
Seattle.
requires a little bit of map thinking.
Yeah.
But so Vancouver's in Canada.
Right.
So
yeah.
it
So
went-
I know that. I
Yeah,
shred
yeah.
the Narpal there.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. So they go from So it went from Seward down to Vancouver with a couple stops along the way, and then from Vancouver I took a train over the border into Seattle.
And then from there you
Seattle,
flew.
I flew to Newark.
Yeah. So what is this bike box?
It's like a
It's like kind of like that cushion over there, like the air mattress that you
Yeah.
put a bike in.
yeah. Imagine like a single bed air mattress.
Yeah.
You know,
So what is that bike doing now? Does
It's
it have
my
a
bike.
Does it have a
It's-
name? Did you name it?
Guy, it's my dad. It's his bike.
Wow, but he didn't name it. He didn't be like, "Hey, son, here's this Gloria."
Yeah, man, the Gloria's a good name.
I know, but just I'm shook. Like, you know, like usually people name like a car.
I
like,
know. You know, that's a good. I never thought about
You
that. I gotta
traveled 5,775 miles with this bike.
ask. I was just calling it an it the whole time, I guess.
Wow,
Crazy. I know. How foolish of me.
That's not it. Maybe that's its pronouns.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
I should have asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, be polite. But yeah.
Have you decided to ride any other bikes now? Like, as in have you gotten like an off-road bike or something like that? Are you into have you gotten more into like bike sports?
Nah, it was just a mission, man. I wanted to accomplish a mission, and I did everything I could to accomplish the mission. I definitely have a greater appreciation for it. And like when
Yeah.
I see people doing bike touring,
Yeah.
I'm like blown away by it. Or not, I'm not. I'm like, I understand exactly what
Yeah.
they're going. And there's some people that blow me away with the trips that they do. Like
Yeah.
I thought my trip was big, but there's a kid from my high school who went from Seattle down to Patagonia. Like he eclipsed my trip. I did almost 6,000 miles. He did like 10,000.
Damn.
You know? And so it's like it puts it in perspective. It's kind of like a bigger fish kind of thing, but
Yeah.
it's like everyone's different. Like my trip, I don't know of all of the bike touring stories I've heard, and I've heard some really cool ones. Like someone like this girl from Penn State actually
Right.
who rode from she pretty much rode the Silk Road. So she went through Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan,
Whoa.
like through the Middle East into China, and like alone as a woman. So like that's hats off to you. Like
Yeah,
I
that-
can
that's
only
hard.
imagine.
Shout
right?
out.
And so like that was her adversity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being a woman in a woman hating area of the world,
Yeah.
right? That's like that takes a lot of nuts. And so like my buddy who went
Ironically.
well, metaphorically, yeah. But then like my buddy who went from Seattle down to Patagonia, like that takes a lot of skill. You know, there's a
Yeah.
couple who's trying to set a Guinness World Record that I'm like following right now. Who's like they've gone to every single continent except for Antarctica over like I don't know, like 6 months or something.
Right.
Like a crazy fast time, right? And so you hear all these stories and it's kind of like, you know, people ask all the time like, "Oh, you're gonna write a book?" And I'm like, I like the idea of that, but I'm like, what made my story unique? And like, I think honestly, it's the fact that I dealt with so much shitty weather for so long
Yeah.
and had to deal with like the mental, it was all mental. Like the physical part, like, yeah, I'm sore for like the first 10 days and then that's it. Like I didn't complain about my body
Right.
after like the 10th day, right? It was all mental. And I'm sure everyone has their own opinion, but like, I think I probably endured more like mental adversity than like any other trip that I've seen. I don't know. I mean, it was like just dealing with weather day in, day out really gets to you.
I
you know?
get it. No.
And like at the end of the trip, I'm like, this trip has to end, or I'm gonna be like a fundamentally angry person. You know, like it has to end soon. So,
I know.
um,
Dude, weather is like, even if you watch those movies like on Netflix where like dudes are climbing like high peaks and shit, like
Yeah.
Mount Everest.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
just weather is ruthless. It's
crazy, yeah. Everyone, that's the thing, man. Like everyone has a story. It's just up to you to choose who you want to read. You know.
Mm-hmm. No, we're not. You're not gonna. No. We're not gonna let you write a book.
All right.
We're gonna produce a movie.
I don't want a movie, man. I don't want a movie.
It'll be not like you don't. It'll be like inspirational movie, like based off a true story.
Yeah, nah, I don't know, dude. I don't want a movie. People, I have family members who say the same thing. They
Children's
know
book?
the what?
Children's book? How about
No,
that?
children's book. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And a graphic novel or an illustrated novel or whatever. it's called.
Illustrated. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I made Jewel Boy. We can do that.
I could do that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll settle on a.
And then
on a
how about
children's
into
book.
an animated series, like a little like a short movie animation though.
Possibly, but think about it, the main character is just gonna be pissed off the whole time.
It's okay. they have grumpy characters.
gonna be
in
like,
anime. Like have you ever seen Up?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the grandpa.
Like
you know
like
what I
the
mean?
grandpa.
Like, so
yeah,
you can make a character that's like because you didn't only have grumpy times when you got to Minnesota. You're like, ah. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, no, dude.
All right.
So, I love that. Yes, yes. Oh, I love animation. It's such a great way to tell a story,
Oh yeah,
especially with weather. Man,
yeah,
we can really make weather fucking.
yeah. All right, I'm open to it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So now you're back in New York. The bike comes. You go where? Like where do you go? What do you do?
Newark.
All right,
Airport.
so you're back
yeah,
in Jersey.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
are you staying at your dad's house?
So
So where do you go from there?
yeah.
I want to know like
Where
what the
did I
first
go?
like month post this journey is.
So so I get back. I think I ended up getting back August 1st. The last day was July 19th, and then between the days that I stayed in Alaska and the days that the cruise took and getting back and everything, the final day that I got back to New Jersey was August 1st.
Okay.
And so I had like less than a week to pack all my shit and move down to Texas for grad school.
I love that.
So
you got into grad school.
I did. Yeah, I should have mentioned that. I went in May before this whole thing started.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, graduated now, but
I know, but like my mom wish I went to grad school or something. You did it. You'd made my mom. My mom is proud of you right now.
Yeah, I'm
she
like
doesn't
a
give
second
a
son,
fuck
you
about
know?
your bike ride. It's the fact you got more school.
all right.
I'm
Good.
I'm
I'm glad I
telling you
made someone
facts,
happy.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, very good, Mike. Very good. Okay, but grad school. Oh,
Yeah, bike trip. Who gives
Tech-
a shit?
Texas.
Yeah.
A&M. Oh, statistics. Oh shit. That's
Yeah.
high, man. Oh, very good, John.
Yeah.
You know that's cool. So
Yeah.
now,
Yeah. I got into Texas A&M in the statistics program, so
Yeah.
that was. So yeah, I had to boogie down to Texas, which is an enormous drive.
Yeah.
And I had to do it with I had to install a hitch on my car, which again my uncle helped me with, and we had this trailer.
Little
And
bit
I never
bit of
drove.
welding. A little bit of welding there.
No, you could somehow. I think you attached it to the struts or like something.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't, and maybe not the strut.
Yeah.
I'm using the wrong terminology, but you could install it like
Okay.
manually. It wasn't. You didn't have to like weld anything on.
Sure.
So, yeah, and it was a Ford Edge, so it was like a crossover car. It wasn't
Oh,
meant
okay.
to tow shit,
Yeah.
you know. And then we filled up my grandpa's trailer, which was like this old, probably 60-year-old trailer. I don't know, but with like dry rotted wheels, you know, like that thing was like literally
Not supposed
one
to go
bump
this-
away
yeah.
from just completely going off the rails. And packed that thing up to the brim. And then my dad ended up having like a big party where like all my family came, all my friends came, and just kind of had a good old hoot and holler and good time before I left down. And then yeah, I where I actually stayed, I don't even remember. I think I just switched between my mom and my dad's house, but
Right.
but they had the big party, big send off, and then then I went. So it was like a 5-day turnaround. I get back from the trip.
Wow.
I have to pack all my shit. I enjoy, the welcome back party, and then I just start boogieing down, and it was like, man, how long was that trip? That was like, I had to split it over like 3 days. It was like, I want to say 38-hour drive or something.
Right.
Maybe
wow.
not that. Maybe
Damn.
it might that might be exaggerated. I can't remember, but it was long.
Over
I
a
couldn't
day for
have done
sure.
it. I couldn't have done it straight. No way.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So
how did it feel from now going from like fucking 95-day bike ride to a 35-hour drive?
it's nothing.
Dude, you were just like
It was nothing. I was like 35 hours, man. I spent like 14 hours a day on the bike. Like that's, and I'm splitting that up into 3 days. I'm like, this is nothing.
Did you get any rain on that drive?
I did.
And
I
were,
did.
were you like,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, I was like, ain't stopping me now, bitch.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
like, that would make me cry.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah,
first
yeah.
time I got rain back in the car, I'm like, oh my god, it's over.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, that was it's so funny. Yeah, and it was like horrible rain too. Like
Mm.
in Texas, like or like whatever. I was driving through like Louisiana, Texas, and
Yeah.
like same thing, man. It was like like torrential downpour. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is a lot nicer, man. you know?
John, do you ever just like get out? Like if you see torrential downpour, just get out and just feel that. Just like, yeah, I remember this. You know what I mean? Do you ever do
Well,
that? Yet?
I mean, the whole trip puts everything in perspective
Yeah.
because it's like physically, there's two. I say like the hardest thing I ever had to do physically was the bike trip.
Right.
There's no task that at any point in my life I'll have to do that I think is harder than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Can't.
the hardest thing I had to do mentally was graduate school. So I'm like, if I can finish graduate school and if I can do that bike trip, I don't think there's really much
Else that could hold me down.
Yeah, like and not only that, like you want to keep going, right? You want to
Yeah.
keep advancing yourself. Like
There's
in your
levels
career
to
and
this
everything.
game,
So
baby.
I think those were definitely two like fundamental parts to my whatever, right? You know, me,
Your journey.
my journey, yeah,
Your journey,
exactly.
your journey, dude.
Yeah.
Now you're out here on this incredible bike ride, coast to coast,
Oh yeah.
and then up to where it snows. I'm gonna make it something. Gonna make it a something.
All right.
Because it snows in Alaska, right? Oh, because you're not going coast to coast. You're actually going
I'm
like,
going coast to continent or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
you're going like coast to mid continent,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then up.
yeah, yeah.
So
And
goddamn.
it's also like part of the Arctic, but not really.
Yes. Never mind. I'm gonna get rid of that phrasing. But you're doing this journey in this beautiful jersey that's hanging
Oh, yeah.
right here. Now, where'd you get this?
Still, I can't remember. I think it was. I think it was man, I can't remember. I think it might have just been an Amazon purchase, but
Oh.
I specifically got it because my wife is from Cyprus. So
Cyprus. Shout out Cyprus.
great country,
Yeah.
beautiful country, and obviously she means the world to me. So I got
Yeah.
the Cyprus shirt. I had 4 shirts. This one, I have a Penn State one. I have like an American flag one, and then I had an awesome one that had a whole bunch of like math equations on it, but I have no idea where it is. It's lost in the mail when I sent it back. I have no idea, but can't find that one.
That's
But
the
I got
worst.
those 3. So
Now, how much, like, this shirt is on my wall. Sure, it's washed and it's, good, but, like, how much sweat has this shirt endured?
oh, you can fill up a swimming pool with it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't stink up the rest of your stuff.
No, I want, I need the Schwenck smell.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? You should patent that, the Schwenck smell.
Schwenk smell.
No,
You
no.
can save 5 times faster.
Yeah, you gotta add
you
this.
get a free shirt.
You gotta add that, like, on the
Smell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Schmelly,
yeah,
schmelly, schnelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
How, like, ripped were your quads at the end of this?
I think I would have given Saquon a run for his money.
Yeah. But they weren't as
It was
like
just quad. Well, that's
they
not
weren't
true.
as
It wasn't just
massive. They
quad.
probably just chiseled. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're a
I mean,
biker's quad.
they were pretty. They were
Big?
big.
Yeah.
They were big because like when you go up, I mean, think about it. It's like doing like a leg press.
No, I agree. I agree.
know?
When you yeah. No.
They did get big, but I agree. It was mostly like
Especially
chiseled rather
on a bike that's from 1991.
than- Yeah.
Yeah. Only one gear. How many gears?
No. It was it had a 3 in the front, 8 in the back, so 24 gears.
I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, how does?
Well, it had a granny gear for like when you go the small gear in the front.
Yeah.
For when you go up really really steep hills.
Oh, like tell me about
just-
that function. I don't even know what that is.
So generally, like most typical road bikes, I imagine have 2 gears in the front. That I used to know the number of teeth, but I'm blanking on it right now.
It's okay.
And then they would have anywhere between 6 to 12 gears in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And so the gear ratio between what specific gear you have in the front and which one you have in the back determines how fast you go and how hard it is to pedal.
Right.
So typically the big front gear, the biggest of the front gears is like you're pedaling hard because every revolution
It's
it-
like it's like more of a
the fastest is big in the front, small in the back. Because for every revolution you do with your feet, you're moving the tiny back gear a million times, right?
Right.
So that's your fastest, but it's also the hardest. That's why you can, when you're going downhill, you can actually like feel like you're still pumping.
Yeah.
Right. But like when it's the other way, when it's the small one in the front and the big one in the back, you're rotating really quick with your feet in the front, but it's only moving the back gear a little by little.
And is that the one where people are going like up a steep hill?
Right. Yeah. So that's why you'll see people spinning literally the phrase "spinning your wheels."
Yeah.
Well, that's from cars, but when you hear a cyclist say like, "Oh, I'm spinning my wheels up that mountain," like they're
really
pedaling really hard, but the back gear's not turning that hard, right?
Yeah,
It's because like it's easy. It's low and slow, right?
Right.
Low gear. And
No, I get it. I get it. Now I'm seeing it all together now.
Yeah. And the granny gear. So like I said, most bikes have the 2.
Yeah.
But the granny gear is an even smaller one, specific for when you're going up like mountains, like really steep stuff or whatever.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I think the steepest uphill was actually in New Jersey. It was like 17% grade or something.
Right.
And it was that was probably the only time I had to like get off the bike.
Walk.
It was like I couldn't. There's no way I could have ridden
Have
because
you-
I had like 100 pounds of gear. There's no way.
Yeah.
But
Have you ever almost been hit by a car? Like
oh yeah.
getting in violent fights with car drivers anytime?
No, I mean I know I'm the one who doesn't belong on the highway. It's meant for cars, so I can't get mad at anyone. But
how scary is it like when a big truck drives by you?
it's I had a mirror on my helmet, so like I could see when they would come, but like it distorts it sometimes, and like I mean there were a couple instances where I could have leaned over and kissed the truck, right? Like
how's that wind? That's what I'm asking.
That messes you up a lot because when especially on a bike when you're going slow because of the wind alone, and then you have the truck come and whip the wind that's already a headwind.
Yeah.
It kind of like gets you off balance. Like when I was in Iowa, I fell off my bike from that 3 times. Yeah, that happened quite a bunch. I remember actually that kind of piqued my memory. There was one instance like one of the first days I think in Pennsylvania. Oh yeah. As soon as I crossed into Pennsylvania, remember in the beginning of this talk, I mentioned the part where there were those 3 roads that converged.
Right. Yeah.
So, New Jersey, of course, everyone's like, "Fuck you! Like, get the fuck out of the road, you stupid fuck!"
New Jersey is the worst place in the whole United States. It's the armpit state of the whole country.
Armpit of America. I love it. I love every second of it.
Yeah, it could be.
But they're extremely aggressive. Right?
Yeah, they have no need to be. They got nothing in Jersey except like dirty beaches. What the fuck, dude? Calm down.
Man, that's Washington's headquarters. Dude.
What?
Washington's headquarters is there.
Washington what?
George Washington. That's where there was a lot of Revolutionary War stuff there. Man.
No, there wasn't. That's a lie.
Yeah.
No. No, that's bullshit. You're
Hey man, the beach. At least we have beaches. Pennsylvania doesn't have beaches.
No, you know what Pennsylvania has? Fucking smells good grass and Lancaster.
Lancaster.
You know what Lancaster has? Fresh, purebred puppies.
Oh yeah, that's true. I have heard that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, most
and they Lidditz. My roommates are from Lidditz.
Mm-hmm.
They have the Wilbur chocolate. Best.
Oh.
I'm a huge chocoholic. Anyone that knows me, I'm a huge chocoholic.
That's beautiful. We can do a whole fucking 10 hours on chocolate.
Oh yeah. Wilbur Chocolate Factory or whatever it's called in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. They have, oh my God, the chocolate covered marshmallows, chocolate covered pretzels, like all this kind of stuff. It's incredible. definitely recommend. But yeah, I lost my train of thought.
No. So yeah, we're talking about like any cars. And
Oh yeah,
then
right. So
you're like,
oh yeah.
New
So
Jersey
in the beginning,
sucks.
they were like cursing me out because I fell in the mid, right?
Yeah.
And so so naturally, and this is the very beginning of my trip, right?
Yeah.
Everything is like sensory overload, like it's new. And so I get into Pennsylvania, like on my way to Penn State, I think,
Yeah.
and I get at this like stoplight, and this car is like honking at me, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like I'm doing nothing wrong. Like I'm in the shoulder, like I wasn't swerving. Like what could I have possibly done to piss this person off?
Right.
So I'm like angrily going up to this car, and I'm like, yo, what's your deal? And it's like this girl, and she's like rolls down her window all shy. She's like, I just like the flag on the back of your bike, and I'm like, oh man, I'm so sorry. Like, have a good one. you know, like I'm so sorry. Like I just expected you to be a dick. I don't know, but
The American flag be having people wilding out, John.
yeah. And when I went to Canada, I had enough decency to also add a Canadian flag.
Oh.
Yeah.
That is actually.
But I did have an American flag.
That is you got to be American.
Well, that was actually inspiration from my parents. They did that on their trip.
I saw that some of the pictures.
Yeah.
You got the same almost setup they had. Yeah. They didn't tell you about like John, the front wheel gonna be a little fucked up. They didn't tell you about that.
Yeah, you leave it as more of a.
That's more of like hazing on the trip.
Yeah, it's like hazing. Wait, I can't wait for this sucker.
Yeah.
He's gonna be fucked.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to say it again. My bladder is full.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to take another pee break.
Let's do it. All right.
I'm taking 2 L's on this podcast because every other podcast I try to see when the guest has to take the break. But
I'm good.
John, you're living here, and what we did today, we went to the gym, and then after the gym, while you in the shower, I drank a protein shake. And so it was like beer and protein shake all running through my body.
Going right through you.
Yeah.
Clean you up.
We'll be back.
All right.
Welcome back to the Bobcast. We did more than a pee break in that break, man. I went downstairs to 7-Eleven. I went down looking for chocolate and Afrin for my nose because I thought it sounded like very cloggy. And then I forgot the Afrin, so I went back down again, had an awkward situation in the elevator. It happens. But now we're back and we're filled with chocolate.
Oh yeah, we're on the topic of chocolate, so like you got to get a
Yeah,
dark chocolate.
exactly.
Kit Kat, man. Yeah.
So you have a sweet tooth for chocolate? When did that start?
Yeah. Oh, forever. And my thing is like I don't like candy. I don't like I mean I'll eat gummy bears obviously, but like it's not my go-to
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
I love chocolate, man. Like I'm a chocoholic. Man. I'm
like
a
chocolate
monster.
milk?
Yeah. Actually, the only thing I don't like that's chocolate is cake. I don't like chocolate cake. It's just too like bland for me.
Yeah. Well, what if it's nice and juicy chocolate cake and moist?
Like a lava cake or something.
Lava has
I don't know. I like brownies. I like
Brownies are
chocolate
good.
chip cookies, like dark chocolate chip cookies, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. But I think my favorite dessert is definitely like a chocolate chip cookie with like dark chocolate morsels in it. Fresh out of the oven,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. How about chocolate ice cream? You ever fuck with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Chocolate. I think I stand by that. Like the only thing is like chocolate cake. Any kind of cake mixture of chocolate. It's not my thing. But.
Throughout all your journeys, how often did you see Dairy Queen on your way? Anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, in up until like I got to the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a ton in like I think I even probably stopped at one at like Pennsylvania. They're all over the place.
You like Dairy Queen?
Oh yeah, the what's the one with like I think it has it's like brownies, maybe Oreo ice cream or something, and then like Kit Kats in it.
Yeah, we used to have Kit Kats. Kit Kats they discontinued a bit ago.
Okay.
But there used to be a bunch of Kit Kats. I believe it.
Yeah.
It's probably there was something called a trash can back in the day, and it probably had a bunch of shit in it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just the kitchen sink, man. Just throw it all in.
Yeah, it's kind of like like they have a trash can in every type of thing, right?
Yeah.
You go to a bar and get a trash can. They're like, "Are you sure? You all right?" Man. Do you know what type of blizzard this is right here on the wall? I'll let you take 3 guesses, and I'll even take your sunglasses off. This is a serious game we play on the Bobcast. And 2 people have gotten it right.
I want to say it's like some kind of like a strawberry shortcake.
Strawberry is always close because of the color, but no.
Cotton candy?
Cotton candy's kind of close, but no. I'll give you a hint because I've given people hints.
All right.
Cracker. Yeah, you cracker.
I should get this. I'm a cracker.
Yeah, exactly.
Cracker.
Yeah, cracker.
What?
Yeah.
That's not like a cookie. That's a cracker.
Or
is it like a nephew of like a cracker, like a relative?
I would say it's a nephew, a relative of a cookie. You know, a cracker is type of related to a cookie, isn't it?
Cracker. Graham cracker? I don't know.
No. Think about a colorful cracker. You know what I mean? A colorful, fun type of cracker. Come on, it's a fun cracker. A lot of colors.
Like a funfetti kind of thing?
Kind of. You're so close. Funfetti blank cracker. Come on. These crackers kind of resemble things that come in a circus.
Graham cracker.
No. We already said.
Oh no, or not a graham cracker. The animal cracker?
Hey.
Nice. Is it really?
Yeah, Animal Cracker Blizzard, baby.
No way.
Yes, it's limited edition.
How do they put what? So what's the topic?
Those are like broken animal crackers, pink and white
Really?
animal crackers. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh shit, man! Now I got to try it.
Yeah.
I've never had it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was limited edition, and then like the fudge they put in is like kind of like pinkish, like, and it has like the it's like cake flavored, and it's like frosting flavored, and it has like kind of like those sprinkles in it. Like
Oh my god, this sounds amazing.
Yeah, dude. So it sounds like diabetes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right up my alley.
Yeah, man. And it's like, oh, I have to ask you, do you have any like teeth problems, like cavities or anything because of the sweet tooth addiction?
No, cavity free. I jinx myself. I just totally jinx myself. But no, I'm good.
Wow, never had a root
dental
canal?
hygiene is important, man.
Yeah.
I try to
You floss?
and everything.
Hell
you know?
yeah. I respect that. I floss twice a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. You taking a shower here. You see my dental work in the shower.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm a man of efficiency.
Yeah, one stop, man.
Yeah,
One stop shop.
One stop.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the and Listerine, do you use like mouthwash? Or
Yeah,
anything? Yeah. I think the Listerine helps. I don't know. I'm not a dentist, but
I am a dentist, and it does.
All right, duly noted.
Yeah, man. Dentist, engineer, Dairy Queen, businessman. All of it.
And the Bhav.
And the Bhav. I always
Bhav.
forget I'm that guy.
Oh yeah, little Pedialyte.
This episode of the Bobcast is brought to you by Electrolit. You get this at 7-Eleven, only in Philadelphia, and it leaks when you get it. That's how you know it's real good.
Electrolytes. Electroleaks. Oh man. Yeah, I was telling you offline, but like Ileana had been getting me into like this kombucha, whatever, and like up until she has this one from Trader Joe's, it's like a strawberry kind of thing, and it's really good. But before that, the whatever ones I tried before, I wanted to vomit. So I think that's probably a good thing. That
What are you calling that K word again?
Kombucha?
Kombucha?
No, is that not it? I don't have no idea. It's not my like neck of the woods.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's called kombucha, but I might.
I could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I could be wrong too. Clifford, what do you think over there?
Come on, Cliff.
He's actually hiding because he's scared of this topic. Anything that pertains to anything that might get Clifford in trouble. He's a very family.
Give me a fin. You know, give me something.
Yeah. Can we bring Clifford into your animated series?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, dude.
Maybe he'll be the one riding the bike.
Oh, maybe your character is represented by Clifford.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I
It doesn't even need to be a literal character riding a bike.
Yeah.
It could just be all the hardships you face.
Yeah, maybe it's like swimming.
Mm.
He's swimming from Atlantic to Pacific.
Mm.
So he has to go. Yeah, then he has to go all the way through the either Panama Canal or South America.
Think about, I don't think Clifford will make it because he's a freshwater fish. You know,
We got to. Well.
and the thing
Maybe he'll do the intercoastal waterway. Like, I think it's freshwater. It
Yeah.
goes from like Maine all the way down to Florida.
I don't
Inland.
I don't think you understand the type of fish Clifford is. He's so sheltered, and once you
Dude,
put,
you're doubting it, man. That fuels the trip, dude. That's a strong thing, man. I think Clifford's listening. He's like, "Oh yeah, watch me, bitch."
there's a place in South Philly, a family-owned fish store. They sell fucking stingrays, dog.
Really?
Yeah, we got stingrays in South Philly,
Damn.
and they had this cool ass beta fish. He was black body and he had blue spots, and he glowed in the dark. And I came home looking at Clifford, and I was like, But then I was like, we've been through some shit. I can't get rid of you, dog.
He's a trooper, man.
Like that's what I'm saying. You're saying he's a trooper, but he hasn't suffered anything. He's had a good life. I took him out of South Philly,
That's true.
the pet
That's true.
store, and
Let's think about where he started. He probably started as like in the bottom of a barrel, man.
I don't know.
Where do you think he was born?
I think he was born at like PetSmart's vendor where they raise beta fish in mass. And they're not really, PetSmart doesn't give a fuck because they're a corporate conglomerate.
Yeah, doesn't even have a mother.
Yeah, so they just have all these fish and they don't care how many die, and then they send them off to the truck. And a lot of them are already dead in South Philly. So it's already slim pickings.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I saw him. I was like, all right, you got good energy. And come on. Because I was like, it's like kind of like every time you go in there, it's kind of random. And then once you find one with kind of like a spark,
Yeah.
you got to bring him home.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, daddy.
A little electric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Clifford, he has personality. He dances.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've witnessed.
Mm-hmm. And once I gave him like so many friends, he's like really living his life.
Yeah. Living his best life.
Yeah. Once I put titties in the tank, it was game over.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
What a beast.
What a beast.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have some shit in my notes for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Oh no, we're not even ready for the notes, man. So you were collecting data on your whole trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. So besides in your notebook, like, we talk about like vital data and like then you're talking about like tracking data.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's it, just physical recordings, or on the website it was tracking it?
Yeah,
or?
so it was a cool experience, and I definitely got to give my brother from another mother, Tyler Citron, a shout out, because he had to deal with me. I'm like I can be a very like demanding boss, I guess, but so I was kind of doing like the project management thing where he actually ironically was in grad school as well for computer science, and so him and some of his buddies were thinking about like their kind of like their capstone project, right. And I brought this idea up to him, like, hey man, like I was asking like advice of like how to do it myself, and then I was like, well, he brought it up. He's like, actually, we're looking for a capstone project, and like I if you're cool with it, we can do that as like a project. So that had its own like obstacles and hurdles and everything to get through, but him and the guys he worked with did an outstanding job. It was a very like it was an amazing website, and so like it tracked in real time like location and the stats. So like it would update every 5 minutes with like my updated heart rate and like speed and all that kind of stuff. So that was really cool, and it all went into a database. And the database at the end of the trip, he kind of showed me how to do all the data extraction and everything. And the data collection was kind of a naive thing for me, and I'm gonna pin that up to me not having like a solid statistical knowledge at that time. This was pre-grad school, right?
Yeah, of course.
I took statistics at Penn State, and like I had a general understanding, but at the end of the day, it was ultimately what's called like a N of 1 study or a pilot study, because the only data is me, right? So in
Yeah.
order for you to gain any kind of like insightful information about the population, you need a big sample. Like,
Wait,
right?
did you take any of these datas that you collected and put them on a graph?
Yeah, I actually have a dashboard, and you can pull it up for like after the podcast
Yeah.
and superimpose it or whatever. But I have a whole interactive dashboard where you can see the different like I have them. They're like tabs, so you can see a map, and then you can see every data point on that map, and then it's associated like variable like data that was
Right
collected
now, I
at
got
that
you.
point.
I got you.
So that was really cool. And it didn't go anywhere from like a research standpoint, and that was kind of a tough pill to swallow, but I was learning, you know, and like it was a great experience for like in indirect ways. I learned how to really become a programmer. Like prior to that at Penn State, like I took a couple classes with R and SAS and whatever, but like I really, really learned how to become a good programmer from that because it's you're working with databases, you're extracting all the stuff you need, and aggregating it all into the right format and everything. And then I also learned how to I learned about this idea of like the N of 1 study, and you can think of it like a time series.
Right.
So in statistical lingo, right, if you think of like a stock, right, you think of a stock and you track it over time. It's only one company. Right?
Yeah.
So in theory, it's kind of like N of 1, but it's different. But it's what you're tracking one thing over time.
Yeah.
So the idea that I kind of came up with is like, okay, if someone had some statistical method that they were researching for time series, like a multivariate time series where you're looking at, say, 50 variables, right? And you wanted to see how to kind of connect the dots between the different variables over time. You know, I all my data is hosted open source, so like anyone who wants to look at like what was my heart rate, what was my blood pressure, what was the elevation, like it's all on what's called the Harvard Dataverse, and you can host data publicly there. So I have it there, and it's actually funny. Like last week, some guy from Northwestern was thinking he was developing this method, and he's like, hey, I'd like to use this data and cite it in my research if that's all right. And I'm like, absolutely, you know,
That's,
like if you
that's
want to,
fun.
you know, collaborations are welcome. Like if you want to expand that even farther, and so what I was saying about me becoming a good programmer, kind of my thesis or whatever you want to call it, I guess, is I created this software package in the programming language R. Probably heard of it, maybe.
No, I only know like
There's
C++.
like Python. Have you
Yeah,
ever heard of Python?
Python I know.
It's similar to Python, but it's called R, like the letter R.
Sure.
And it's R and Python are the two big like data science languages.
Yeah.
And so I created this this software package that analyzes blood pressure, because like as I was going through grad school at Texas A&M, I got really into like hypertension research and like wondering like how does, you know, because like you kind of introspectively think about like myself, my heart, and like how does that play into blood pressure and everything. And so I was working with my advisor on this package, and it's out there. It's called BP, the BP package. So the cool thing was I ended up using all of the blood pressure data from the bike trip.
Right.
So it's public. It's like published in that software package. So if anyone around the world who has R can just install the BP package, and then you'll see all my data from the trip there. So I'm like, even though it wasn't like statistically like relevant from a methodological standpoint, like it actually got used, and that was like cool, you know. So it wasn't all for nothing, and it obviously wasn't for nothing, but like
it's just real
it's
data.
cool when it actually gets put into a good purpose, you know.
Yeah.
And it's real data, so it's it's really cool, if nothing else, just for like data visualization purposes, you know.
Exactly. Nah, dude, I work with a lot of data. When I first joined the company I'm at now, I did a lot of time studies, and we just looked at data, man. Too much data.
Yeah.
And now I'm quitting this job. And, you know, I've been talking a lot of shit about quitting this job on this podcast. But John Schwenck, rode his bike so many miles, too many miles for one man. You know, that's why you're 2.5 men. Right? You rode your bike too many miles. And John today I took a phone call from this guy, Matt, at work. And John heard this guy. I broke the news to him, and he was like, "Oh no!" People love me where I work, guys, and I'm just pacing, and they're upset. Wasn't this guy upset, John?
He was pretty flustered.
Yeah, he was like, "What are we gonna do without you? You're one of the good ones." I was like, "You guys are just gonna struggle on," and that's what they got. I hope you're doing good, Matt. I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, man.
Can I ask you this? When you do your long ass bike ride, your butt ever hurt?
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well, so I had the compression shorts I had actually had a butt pad, so like for your tailbone.
yeah.
And I never understood this part, but like all the cyclists love to have this like fucking rock hard bike seat.
Yeah.
I don't like that. That sucks. So like for me, I had a 2-inch cushion pad thing on it, and like in the beginning it was sore, right? But like towards the end, it was fine. But yeah, it was like there's like this thing where like, oh, you have like a cushion on your seat, like you don't like the pain. I'm like, no, I don't like the pain. Like, no, I'm sorry,
I don't like to get railed in my ass all the time.
Yeah. I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. I like to be comfortable, But
yeah.
it was so funny now that you bring that up. Like, all the cyclists I met were so pretentious, man. Like, I was like, dude, I get it. You want to be hardcore and whatever, but like when it's raining, you're not going out and riding, are you? No. Like, and the coolest people I met were the motorcycle riders, because they're like, you got 2 wheels, I got 2 wheels, like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, you're cool, man. Like every motorcycle rider I met was awesome. Actually, when I was in Alaska on the 4th of July, I was riding into my like motel, and the neighbor saw me, and we same thing. It's tell him the story and whatever. But it was him and all of his motorcycle buddies did a cross country motorcycle tour.
Okay.
And they're like, dude, you gotta come eat with us, man. Like, it was the 4th of July, and like that that's like one of my favorite holidays. I'm like, like that's awesome. And like all of these guys were just like motorcycle gang, like total like hardcore dudes, and like that most people would be scared of. But they're like, yeah, you rode a bike, man. Come on, you got a bike. I got a bike,
Yeah,
like,
dude, it's a bike.
It's so cool. It's like, hell yeah,
It's a bike. I love it. Dude, I have a motorcycle. I always feel like I rolled into some places just broom broom, and since I drive a cruiser and it's kind of like a 750 and it's dual exhaust, and it's like I just roll in and I feel like some older white guys look at me and they want to hate me, but they can't.
Because they're like, all right, you got a motorcycle.
When I like brought my bike to the shop and the guy gave it back to me, like he was such a cool guy and he loves bike, and I think he like kind of runs this. He owns this shop.
Yeah.
But when he comes out, I remember just coming out, just revving, and he was like, "Yeah, new money, eh?" And I was like, I didn't really understand what he said, and I was like kind of riding home, and I was like, "New money," and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's a brand new bike." And I was just like, "Ooh," like he gets it. Just
yeah.
Yes, I was like, "Oh man," and he gets it. New money, they fucking assembling my shit week.
Yeah.
They forgetting to.
Yeah, motorcycle riders, man, they're
It's a fun time
they're a fun
because
bunch, man. Yeah.
I've also recognized bicyclists can be pretentious.
Yeah.
I think the outfits maybe are, since they're too tight, there's too much blood rushing to your head or something.
Well, dude, the other thing is like, there's a difference between like the guys who go cycling, like to
Fitness
for like fitness, versus like the people who do bike touring.
Yeah, I think
right? The bike touring ones are like
cool.
There's a symbiotic relationship between motorcycle riders and bike touring, because they're like, that's fucking hard. Like, I don't want to do that. That's why I'm on a motorcycle.
Yeah,
exactly. So they have like respect.
Yeah,
but, like,
respect.
The people who are just doing it for fitness, like, get the fuck out of my way.
And you know what the worst type of bicyclist is? The one that doesn't even move. The one that just the pelotonist.
Yeah.
Dude, like they're just like, oh, I ride 80 miles today.
Yeah.
Where in my room? Like what? Like,
a little different. Yeah.
Dude, like what is that? What do you think about that?
Well, it depends your mentality. Like I was, again, the little bit of physical training I was doing before the trip, like I would wake up in the morning, go to my gym in Atlantic City, and then I would do the bike. Like I would do the
Oh,
stationary
okay.
bike. But I acknowledge the fact that if I rode 30 miles in 30 minutes, that's not very realistic, right?
Yeah.
So like I wasn't actually going that far. And so like then at night I would actually take my bike out and go, and I'd be like, 30 minutes didn't get me that far, and then 30 minutes on the stationary bike got me this astronomical number. So anyone who says like, oh, I ride like a ton of miles, but I'm only doing a stationary bike, it's like, all right, well, when you ride on the road, then let me know how far you go.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's actual like friction. Like even on a treadmill. I was actually, when I was watching you on the treadmill today, I was like, wow, this guy can run. Like you're running like, what pace were you running? At least like a 6 or a 7. 8, yeah, I was gonna say 8. Yeah, you're a hauling ass.
Yeah.
I was
well,
like,
I mean, again, I can't really lift weights, so I'm like, well, I just better be damn good at running.
yeah. Me, I just try to get my heart rate up to like 200. It's been challenging the last 2-3 days ever since I hurt my Domino's. I love you guys. Feta and cheese pizza with extra tomatoes, diced tomatoes on top. But if you guys don't cook the fucking pizza all the way, it gets stuck in my belly, and then I get fucking gassy and constipated for days, and it hurts. This poor man, I was supposed to pick him up from the airport, and I was just literally dying. And how many times have I shit since you got into
At least 20.
And that's under.
Yeah.
That's under.
Oh yeah.
Where did you poop when you were on this bike ride? This long bike ride?
Wherever, man. I mean, if I was close to a gas station, gas station, but yeah, I mean, there was like a 400-mile stretch in I think it was the Yukon, I don't know, or like Alberta, where there was nothing.
Yeah.
No, it's totally desolate, right?
Sure.
And you got to shit in the woods, right? There was actually a period where I guess I forgot to mention this part, but this dude was from Switzerland that I met, and he came over, he got out of the army, just wanted to do something fun, cool, whatever, and he was doing like he was going Vancouver to Fairbanks or something.
Sure.
And so we were riding together for like 2 days, I think 3 days maybe. And coolest dude ever, man. And so we he would, I guess maybe just because he was fresh out of the army, but like he was a survivor. Like he would he was all into like just every, like I learned a lot. Like it was snowing, and there was we probably rode like 100 miles or something, and like I'm getting pretty gassed because it's like really steep up and down, and I'm like, man, like in my head, I'm not saying this because like I don't want to like get his spirits down, and like he's pushing me, right? So like I like it, but in my head I'm like, man, I'm getting really like fucking gassed, right? So I'm thinking of like where we could stay, where to set up tent. Like there's snow, it's like probably a foot of snow, and he finds like this primitive. It's like a Airbnb, I guess, but it's not. It's there's no what is it? There's no electricity, and there's no running water.
Right.
So the only thing it has is gas. So you can stay warm with the gas.
I got that.
And so he's like scooping up snow outside and boiling it so that we can like make food and shit.
Yeah.
And like just so resourceful, man. Like shit that I thought I was good at survival, and he's like,
I don't know if just taking snow and boiling. Oh, boiling it. Yeah, that's safe.
you just like boil out all the impurities.
Right.
But like just general survival knowledge, and like I'm like learning all of this stuff, and I'm like, this is like, he's a really, really cool dude, and we're just like shitting and anywhere, like, hold on, give me 5, I'm just go in the woods, and but it's snow, so you just covered over. And
what are you wiping with?
I had a thing of toilet paper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Why didn't
no leaves?
You should carry baby wipes.
I had baby wipes.
Oh yeah, that's what.
But they're precious commodities, man. 'Cause
yeah.
Think about it. Like if you can't shower, you got to like use the baby wipes to clean
up,
right? So if you're gonna use those, like you only get like 20 in a pack. So if you're gonna shit 3 times a day,
I'm using them. Dude, I mean, if I have baby wipes, finite amount of baby wipes. They're all going for my asshole. I'll figure out the rest for my body somewhere else.
Yeah, well,
Right?
when you're 400 miles away from shit, I don't know, dude.
I don't know, man. Now you carry like deodorant on you or what?
Yeah, I had all my like basic toiletries.
Yeah.
But that actually kind of proved to be kind of problematic because when you're in like bear country, you don't want it like they smell that shit, right? So
Yeah.
you have to. So I tried to put everything that smelled into my front pannier, and I would tie it up in a tree like 100 yards away,
Wow.
which was like a ordeal every night, because
Well-
it's not just like you can't just. Like you have to aim it, you have to get it right, you have to tie the right knot, and it's like it takes time. Like it probably takes 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah. No, I would assume that.
Yeah.
And oh my God, did you ever see like an animal ever like look into that or hear something? 100 yards away is pretty far, right? Or is it
A
100?
football field.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, that's not that far actually.
I don't know. I didn't personally see it, but I heard sounds in the night when I'm sleeping. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that thing?
Yeah.
What's that thing tapping around over there? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I have a feeling they probably smelled it. Or something.
Did you ever get nervous about sleeping in the woods or anything like that?
Not really. I was like really careful about it. I mean, it's like all of the other nature stuff, like the first time, it's a shock. And then, but I was fortunate because like my second night of the whole trip, like when I was saying I did 3 states in 2 nights or whatever.
Yeah.
The second night I did that ghost camping and like I got used to the process. So like I kind of got all my scare, like my fear out during that. But yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I guess, but
Yeah.
when you're like deep into like the Yukon, when you know there's no people,
Yeah.
and they're completely isolated, like that gets you thinking a little bit, But I like that. Like
Yeah.
people would text me every day, and like obviously I love the support, right? I can't thank everyone enough, but there was that period, that 400-mile stretch where just absolute isolation, man. And it was the most pristine feeling. Like it was funny. My the phone, the tracker was just blank for like that whole stretch.
Right.
Somehow, I think because of like the satellite signal, it ended up picking it up. But
Right. Somewhere in between.
yeah, but like it was just completely like you're just literally one with nature, and it's just like it's an indescribable feeling.
Do you ski or snowboard?
I ski.
Yeah, you went on that ski trip
Yeah,
that one
yeah,
time,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know how it's like when you're out there in like the nature, it's like totally insulated and you can hear the quiet.
Yeah.
So
like
when
in
you're
the glades.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly, in the glades. So when you're out there in the wilderness like this, like it's a whole different type of quiet. And then like when you look up at the stars, you can see like really good, right?
Yeah.
How is like that? Tell me about. Could you
That-
actually see like the Milky Way and shit?
Oh yeah. That
Yeah.
and again, like you need a night where it's not raining, right? So
Yeah.
like it was more the end of the trip, or like not the leg 2, right? And that was immaculate, man. Well, actually, I gotta speak carefully about that because remember I was saying the sun never sets after a certain latitude.
Yeah.
So I think it was like, in terms of like stargazing, my favorite night was this place called Kootenay Bay or Kootenay Village or something. There's like 4 main national parks in the Canadian Rockies, like in British Columbia,
Right.
where there's the Icefields Parkway is the highway, and then it's like Banff, you might have heard of, and then I'm blanking on the other ones, but Kootenay was one of the 4.
Okay.
And that night, that was the one night where like I was stuck because of snow again, but I didn't mind it because it was just beautiful, man. It was like I got this cabin, and it was like a cabin village, but the cabins were far enough apart where it was so cool. It's like a bed with a fireplace right there, so I had a fire going and like cooking my own shit on the stove, and then outside it was snowing during the day, but then at night it just opened up, right? and you could. It was just see a million stars. You know what I mean? It was absolutely incredible. And those 4 national parks were probably the last time I saw the sky until I got down to like Anchorage, like way at the end of the trip.
I went to Georgia one time. Shout out Georgia. My boy. Oh yeah, this just died. Okay, so let's switch these batteries out.
All right. Can you hear both mics when it's
Oh yeah, dude.
loud
Oh
and
yeah,
clear?
you know I think I was gonna tell you about this, right? So go ahead, try this on. Hey John.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you see. What
Oh,
I'm
I
saying?
can hear myself. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah,
Now I get it.
so if you had 4 people,
Yeah.
and everyone had their headphones on, it'd
Yeah,
just
yeah,
be
yeah.
like talking in
Well, that's good because then you can tell like when you're.
yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that's why I say that 2-finger rule. You know what I mean? And what I can also do on this device is program in 4 sounds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but mic, please.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like but like the thing is, since we don't all have headphones in, you can't like
Yeah.
you can't hear it. So,
Yeah.
so I just put it in post audio, but
Yeah.
it's a cool device, but it needs Bluetooth attachment, like
Yeah.
so everyone can have a Bluetooth headphones.
Right.
Like so the setup can be like everyone has their Bose headphones on.
Right.
That'd be so chill.
Yeah. That'd be dope.
Man. What were we just saying before we started this right here?
Stars.
No. Like literally just in this break. This is the problem with the Bobcast. Everything be breaking. My screensaver is so lit. You know what I mean? Look at this shit. Oh my god.
Flower power.
It was like something. It was close to football. I wanted to say to you. Oh, dude. Okay. So I went to Georgia.
Oh yeah.
And my boy Nick, he looks like Thor, like the fucking.
Yeah.
And we went to the State Eyes Lake House, and it was in this nice Georgia lake where Nick Saban.
Oh really?
Saban.
Yeah.
The one of the fucking
Alabama.
Yep.
Yeah.
He lives there.
Oh really?
Yeah, dude. And we were just on the water. We like went by his house, and he
Oh
had,
no
like,
way.
yeah, like fucking 18 yachts and 4 jet skis. Yeah, you don't really care for the jet ski. He needs all the yachts.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this is. And then we went out at night, and the stars, bro. Like we were like, whoa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's when you see like an open sky,
Mm.
it's just a
Without like
spectacular
light
experience.
for a minute, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, without
yeah.
light,
my family has a cabin in Maine, and it's like same, dude. I look forward to just seeing the stars, like the whole trip. Like that's the highlight of the whole thing, man. Because it's like there's no light pollution, like just you can see galaxies that probably don't even exist anymore. You know?
Yeah,
It's
right.
nuts. Yeah,
Dude, so you like football?
I do.
You support the worst team in the whole NFL, the New York Giants.
Coming from Philly.
What do you mean coming from Philly?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
We got more Super Bowls than the Eagles.
You guys are trash, just mentally.
Now we're trash. Oh, we're total trash now.
No,
yeah.
no. You understand? We, from from our being, are such a cool people.
The Eagles?
Just all.
They shit. I remember when you guys won the Super Bowl, people were literally shitting in the street.
Yeah, no, shitting, eating shit.
I know.
It's
Yeah,
not-
they eat shit. They literally eat shit.
You're too
You ju-
worried about what shit is. You know what I mean?
I'm not eating shit for the Giants. I'm not that much of a. Yeah, that's like disrespect, man. You can't disrespect your team like that.
No, first of all,
You equate them with shit?
we didn't eat human shit.
You did. Oh, it was horse shit.
Horse shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eagles fans eat horse shit. You heard it right from the guy's mouth there, yeah.
Yeah. Second of all, the horse is such an important animal to us as a species. Has carried us, carried our things, brought us war victories. The horse, respect the goddamn horse.
Hey, we have plenty of generals in our wars that did great things. I'm not going to suck the guy's dick.
I mean, maybe you should.
Nah.
Hey, John. How
know.
about this one? Maybe how about this one? How about this one?
Let's go Giants.
No.
G-Man.
It's just the thing with the Giants is like you guys don't love each other.
What do you mean?
Yeah, see, like the thing about we're
literally delusional. We think every single year, every Giants fan I know, we all say the same thing. We're like, yo, this is the year. For sure, 100%, we're definitely going to the Super Bowl. Every single year, we're completely delusional.
Yeah, the fans are delusional. Yeah, but even the team is delusional because the team doesn't work together. Like Saquon Barkley is just one man. See, the Eagles is a whole bird.
They're not. They're terrible.
No.
They're awful. They're absolutely trash.
No.
They are.
I don't know.
I would love to pull up the stats of like the side-by-side comparison since the Super Bowl.
I would love to, but Clifford over there.
Clifford's definitely a Giants fan. No, he's more like a Cleveland Browns fan. He's an underdog.
He's a Miami Dolphins fan because
He's friends with Dolphins.
yeah.
And then he likes the Florida Marlins too for the baseball. You know?
Yeah, and he just likes those Miami bitches. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're fun.
yeah.
You know, they're like the girl in his tank.
Yeah, those South Beach bitches. You know?
Yeah, like that's what he do. But his second favorite team is the Birds. Okay, don't be like that. You know what I mean?
Don't birds eat fish? Especially eagles, they eat fish. He's definitely not an Eagles fan.
Yeah, but he ain't scared of birds. Just
Dude,
like
they eat. Yeah, but are you gonna really root for someone that's constantly trying to kill you?
I root for white people all the time. I want them to.
Touche.
I want them to win. That's why you're here.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. I'll give you that one.
Thank you. Oh man, John. Is there anything we kind of missed on your bike trip? What else can we get on that?
Well, there was this. I think I kind of covered most 80, 90% of it. But there's the one thing I remember is this dude Jiro.
Okay.
He's like he was like this 60-something-year-old like Japanese dude.
Yeah. Completely
just ditched his family and his like job and everything, like totally took a left turn. And I meet this guy at this campsite, right? And it's like 8 o'clock. And the woman at the office is like, yeah, there's like a campsite back there. You just, set up wherever. And I see there's another tent, right? It's a tiny tent. It's probably the width of this table.
Okay.
And, like from here to like the edge of your chair.
Sure.
And I'm like, man, that's a tiny, tiny tent, right? And there's a bike. So I'm like, oh, cool. It's like some guy like me doing kind of like a bike tour or whatever. So I set my tent up like kind of close. And I'm like, oh, maybe when he gets back, like I'll talk with him. And
right.
Apparently he was sleeping. And he like pops out of his tent. He's like, yo, what's up, man? He's like highest energy I've ever seen. He's like, what's up, man? I'm like, hey, how you doing, dude? Like, I just wanted to, meet another fellow biker or whatever. He's like, oh, hell yeah, He's like, and so he does this thing where he'll sleep. He goes to bed really, really early, goes to bed early, wakes up early.
Yeah.
Right? And so we're talking. I'm telling him about the trip. He's telling me about his trip, like his background, whatever. And he's telling me this story about how he was at the same juncture where I was saying there's that cabin with like no running water and no electricity.
Yeah.
He was in the same area, but there was this like abandoned cabin. And so he's like, yeah, I kind of quote unquote broke into it and set my sleeping bag up and whatever. But his English was awful. Like it was very fractured. So I was trying to pick up on the story. And he's like, yeah, I go to bed at 8 o'clock and I wake up at 4 and
could you tell what he was?
Japanese.
Oh, okay.
He said he was from Japan.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's like, yeah, I'm in the middle of the night, in the middle of my sleep, I hear boom, boom, boom on the door. And turns out a grizzly bear breaks into the cabin. I'm like, oh yeah, like a grizzly bear breaks into the cabin while you're sleeping, like what? Yeah, and you're in your sleeping bags, like what the fuck, And he's like, yeah, I get out, and And I realized, like, there's no way out, so I have to do kung fu on the motherfucker. And I'm like, yeah, you did kung fu on the guy, you know?
Watch
And he's like, yeah, just he's like doing all the movements. I'm like, okay, man. Like, this is the first time meeting the guy.
Yeah.
Actually, I take that back. I missed a very important detail. The second time meeting the guy. The first time I met him, I'm riding on this one road, and I see this guy on the ground, and I'm like, oh shit, he's injured, right?
Right.
And I'm biking up to him, and I get closer, and I'm like, he's moving around on the ground, and I'm like, what the hell, you know? And I get probably within like 50 feet of him, and he just has like a cigarette, and he's just doing push-ups on the side of the road. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? He's like, oh, I'm just getting a little, smoke break in. I'm like, all right, dude, good luck, and he just rides away, and then I ended up seeing him at that campsite.
Oh my god.
And so seeing him do push-ups on the ground as a smoke break, and then him telling me the story, I'm like, you know what? I actually believe you. I actually think he did kung fu on a grizzly bear.
Yeah. You guy's animal.
He was nuts, dude, and he was the coolest dude to bike with, man. His name is Jiro. He's a lost soul, dude. But he just decided to. He was like, yeah, 65. I retired. My family's all out of the nest, so I just wanted to do it. And he was the coolest
crazy
dude, man.
because he thought doing push-ups on his brake was a break.
Yeah. I mean, he was jacked. You look at him.
Yeah.
I honestly thought he was like late 40s.
It's
When
like
he said he was 65. I was like, dude,
I'm
that's
imagining how much his breath is while he's doing these push-ups. Like 25 push-ups. Is that one cigarette? Like kind of like.
No, I'm telling you, he was like in shape. Like,
I believe it,
mean?
man. I mean, that's why you saw me. I had a little fun time before the gym,
Yeah.
Nicotine never hurt nobody. Makes you stronger. Big tobacco. You know what I mean? Yo, tobacco money. That's what I want the Bhavcast to be. Kind of like tobacco. Just
get Marlboro sponsor, American Spirits to sponsor you, man.
American Spirits. We only smoke blacks here.
And then get Jiro. We'll get Jiro back from Japan. We'll sponsor you.
Yeah, Jiro, come through, dog.
But yeah, other than that, man, that's pretty much. I think I covered the highlights for sure.
Yeah, dude, that's crazy. And you were just riding, pedaling. You ever get injured? Any injuries?
Mm-hmm. I think I broke my collarbone the whole time. But
how did that happen?
That was like day 10 or something, like really early in the trip.
Did you fall or something?
Yeah. So
that wind trip or something.
So I had the most foolish thing of like the mechanics when I was setting everything up. I decided to use my dad's panniers from his. It might have even been my mom's panniers. I don't even remember. But it was like old, like they were super old, right? And so I'm going down this hill. I think it was in Ohio, so it had to have been like within the first 2 weeks. I don't remember when, but I'm going down this hill and there's this bridge and I see it. I'm going fast. I'm going probably 30 miles an hour.
Okay.
Right? And I'm coming in hot and I got to think quick and I see this. There's a gap. I'm not kidding. It's about as big as this table and probably like 6 inches deep, maybe.
Sure.
And I got to think quick. I'm like, dude, I'm either going to completely just nosedive right into it.
Yeah.
Or I got to figure something out. So I decide like I'm going to do pop a wheelie over the gap. And then with the idea being that at least like the back tire will kind of like I get the front tire over, I miss like the nosedive and then the back tire will kind of
you were
bounce over.
attempting a J hop without actually hopping. I love this.
Yeah.
I used to BMX a little. So the thing is, a J hop is like you ride, you lift up, and then you pop up, right? And then you can scoot in the air. And then a bunny hop is actually you're riding and you kind of just lift the whole bike and you jump both wheels at the same time.
Okay. So I guess it was a J hop then. Yeah.
You tried, but you never hops.
Well, the thing was
maybe
I made it.
Oh, okay.
I made it. I did. I successfully got over it. But the thing was, the front panniers were such shit that the weight of the two bags and the rest of my shit, when I came down, the panniers snapped and they went directly into the tire and like totally fucked up all the spokes.
Oh.
And so like the wheel immediately cut short,
Yeah.
like stopped immediately. And so it was, you're riding and it just kind of
You
immediately
went over the handlebars.
Yeah, over the handlebars. And then I pretty sure I broke my collarbone, but I'm like, what am I going to go to the hospital? And then what are they going to tell me? Just go easy, what am I going to do? So I'm like, all right, I'm just going to keep going,
Yeah.
But yeah, there was and another example of like humanity at its best, man. Like my so I that happened, and then these people were like, oh, like Jesus Christ, like you need help, like let me drive you to the local hotel or whatever. And then I forgot a bag because it was over a bridge, right? So the pannier bag, the back one flew over the there's like a little kind of canal, like ditch thing, and I didn't notice it because my bike was in shambles. It was completely fucked up, so I had to like totally I had to get a new tire, new tube, new tread, everything. And I get all the way to the hotel and I realize I don't have the bag, and they're like, don't worry about it, we're gonna go back and we're gonna find it. I'm like,
wow,
come on, like let me at least pay you, let me help you, like let me do something. I feel bad for you to just go out of your way. It was like a 20-minute drive, right? And they went back. I'm eternally grateful for them as well. And then the next like day or two, I was like fixing the bike. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I like broke my collarbone.
Shit, dude. Yeah. Did you ever get like your pants stuck in the bike chain? Ever?
Well, no, because I wore shorts. Like I wore shorts the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yo, you were talking about in the beginning, like, you were like, I got to like the halfway point.
Yeah.
And then before I started going
Wyoming.
North, yeah, Wyoming, and you're shocked about all the snow. Did you not think about like as you increase like
elevation
north, it's gonna get colder and all that? Like,
well, I was looking at like temperature trends, and like historically, like in the summer, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Like it's really not cold. Most years it's not cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I just assumed as much as you go north.
Well, there's like a point where you get really like if in Alaska there's Fairbanks, which is like you throw a bullseye into Alaska, like dead center, and there's a road that goes all the way up to what's called Prudhoe Bay, which is like the Arctic Circle. That's fucking cold. Okay. Right. But everything pretty much below Fairbanks in the summertime, I got to stress that enough. In the summertime, it's like reasonable temperatures, 60s, 70s.
Oh, okay.
In the winter, it gets to be like 40 below zero. Yeah. But in the summer, it's like, it's reasonable. So I'm looking at all this and I'm like, okay, well, I'll bring a coat, but I don't think I need a snow jacket. Right? I don't need like heavy duty gear. And I was wrong. That was the anomaly year. That was like when I was in Iowa, one of the people I stayed with was saying that it was like a historical year where like they got the most rain on record or something. And I'm like, I know, I believe it. But yeah, it was it did get better. Once I got into Canada, it got better.
Okay,
sure.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yo, let me ask you this: did you watch Harry Potter growing up? I feel like that's
I did.
No.
Well, so we both grew up with Harry Potter throughout we're the same age, right?
Yeah. So 93.
Yeah, 94. So the when the Sorcerer's Stone came out, I think we were in like first grade.
Yeah.
So Sorcerer's Stone came out, and then Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban, and it went until Order of the Phoenix came out, I think either senior year or like freshman year of college.
Yeah, something like that. And
so I know all of the stuff up to that point, but after Order of the Phoenix, I just never like gave it the time of day.
So you've never seen them?
I have, but like out of order. I want to watch them all like in sequence.
But you've seen every movie?
Yes. What's after Order of the Phoenix?
So Order of the Phoenix, then you got like I think the Half-Blood Prince.
But that's 2 movies. Right?
No, then you have the Deathly Hallows, which is 2 movies.
Half-Blood Prince.
That's the one where Dumbledore dies.
I haven't seen that one.
Wow.
I have not seen that one.
We'll watch it maybe later.
All right.
Yeah.
I see. Like I've seen the Half-Blood Prince though, so like I get it. I know what happened.
You've read it.
No,
What do you mean you've
I
seen
read up to the Order of the Phoenix,
Yeah.
and I watched all the movies up to Order of the Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
Didn't see Half-Blood Prince. Didn't read Half-Blood Prince.
Oh.
Didn't read Deathly Hallows, but I watched the Deathly Hallows. Like I
Okay.
watched. That's what I mean. I
Yeah.
watched them out of sequence.
Right.
So like, I wanna see them all. And
Yeah.
Ileana's a big Harry Potter person, so we're like, oh, we'll just watch them all in sequence or whatever.
Do you have a do you have top 3 favorite characters? Top 1?
Like including beasts and everything else. Like
Wow, you're the first person to say
like the
that.
3-headed dog and like
You can say that if you want.
I think the
Fluffy?
snake. I gotta go with the snake.
Nagini?
Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, the basilisk.
The basilisk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's okay. So do you want Fluffy, the basilisk,
Basilisk.
and you get one more?
I want to say Hagrid,
Mm.
but it doesn't Hagrid have like a brother or something? I can't remember. Doesn't he have someone who's like kind of like a doppelganger, like looks like him?
Nah. Dumbledore does. Dumbledore has a brother.
Oh no, okay, I got it. The original Dumbledore.
Yeah.
Not the the actor died.
Yeah, I do.
Like
yeah.
the original from the first 2 movies.
Right,
that
right,
guy.
yeah.
That's my favorite guy.
Yeah. Do you want to hear something really funny about that guy and adorable? He thought the Phoenix was real.
Really?
Yeah, because he just was so old and it was animated. It was like a robot Phoenix in the room.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he
That's
thought,
hilarious. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like so cute. He died thinking that was real.
Like, all right, good thing this guy died. He
Yeah,
had no idea
man.
what's going on.
No. It's
No, he was a
adorable.
good.
Yeah,
He was. I'm telling you, he was like my.
he
definitely my
crushed it
favorite.
for us, and we were like all little children. That's just
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
old wizard. And he-
McGonagall. I like McGonagall too.
Oh yeah, McGonagall. She's real fresh when she did like. Oh yeah, you've barely seen the movies yet. When she lays down all the soldiers and then she comes down. She's like, oh
No, I remember that one
Yeah,
at
she's
the
like-
end, right?
I always wanted to do that spell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
That's so adorable.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, man. I like Voldemort. I always vibe with him. Just good guy going bad. You know what I mean? I like Remus Lupin.
Oh yeah.
But I also like Sirius Black because they can
Oh
transform.
yeah, I like Sirius Black.
Yeah,
That's
any
good.
of them that can transform,
Yeah.
like just like McGonagall as well.
Which the one that's the rat?
Fucking Wormtail. Fucking
No. Like in the third one, or fourth one. Maybe.
the rat. Yeah, Wormtail. I forget his name, but he's like that. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I forget his name, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's his
Yeah.
Wormtail. Yeah. And then Dobby. I love
Oh yeah, Dobby. Yeah, Dobby's great.
Dobby.
That was a great one. Yeah.
He's a fucking goat.
Tragic. What do you call him?
Ending, but
great
that's
tragedy.
how that's how it's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, John, we've been doing this for a minute, so let me just ask you this before we end this,
All right.
and go get Wawa, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
watch Half-Blood Prince.
Oh yeah.
You know what's the next moves, man? We are talking about like you want to maybe start like kind of like a consulting kind of company where we combine, kind of like nerds and then project-esque people,
Mm-hmm.
and we get shit done. So like, what does John want to do now? He's done his bike ride, What is the next move for John? What's his next bike ride, theoretically?
Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be theoretically, but the career-wise, I'm a big proponent of bridging the gap between research and real-world applications, and I think there is a gigantic disconnect there between the really, really innovative and novel methods that a lot of academics come up with and the implementation of them in practice. So, yeah, that's an idea I've had of having kind of like a consulting practice or what have you, where you work with companies they have some kind of a problem that would be greatly improved by statistical methodology, or I hate using the word data science. I think that word's very bastardized, but
Why?
Because it's people don't even know what it means. Like they some people say it and all they really mean is software engineer. Other people say it and they're like, oh, like sometimes they mean statistics. Sometimes they mean like people who just do everything. So
Dude,
I think it's
data
a lot of hype.
scientist.
I think it's a lot of hype.
I put Excel formulas in Excel.
Yeah. See, like that's one variant. You know, like
Yeah.
it's not, it's very loose. But for me personally, like I'm a statistician first and then a data scientist. So like I love researching all of this new methodologies that are out there and trying to really put it into practice to help people make business decisions, make money, like so many different avenues of industry can benefit from using it. And I think there's people just don't understand them. As an example, there's like two areas of statistics I'm really interested in. One's like called spatial statistics. So you have like data that the distance between the observations makes a big difference in the whatever the response variable of interest, right? So if I'm looking at like, I don't know, trying to predict like credit card balances, right? If I happen to know the locations of the customers and their banks and the relationship between the customer and the bank and like all of this location-based information, there's a lot that can be obtained there. There's also this area called functional data analysis, which is if you think of an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
And every cell in a column is an observation, right?
Okay.
You put in the number 3, then 4, then whatever, and you have a column of numbers.
Okay.
Don't think of them as numbers. Think of them as entire continuums, entire curves,
Yeah.
right? So the best example I can give is like if you have
I think that's
heart
what you were
rate.
saying earlier. Like, right? You have like 50 data points, and then you're mapping these lines kind of, right?
That's a little different. That's like it's called multivariate time series where you have the same one observation over time. But what I'm saying is treat that entire continuum of time as one cell in an Excel file.
Okay.
So like if I take my heart rate every day, right? Every row in the Excel sheet is going to be a day. January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd, 4th, and so forth, right? And for January 1st, I'm going to have every minute of the day, I'm going to have a data point for what my heart rate was, right? So it's a curve.
Yep.
So I don't know what the number is. Say it's like 3,000 observations for a day, right? You treat that as a curve, and then that goes into cell 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have it for day 2, and that goes into cell 2. So you can treat all of these as curves, and there's a very deep mathematical intuition to that. But there's a lot that can be said about characterizing the distributions of the data, because if I, for example, something that I'm interested in is like blood pressure, hypertension. I mentioned that before. So right now, if I want to take my blood pressure, there's kind of two ways to do it. I can either put on a cuff and I press a button and I wait and then I record my blood pressure, or that's called home blood pressure monitoring, HBPM. There's also ambulatory blood pressure monitoring, which is like an automatic device.
Right.
So I put it on my arm and it automatically records it every 15 minutes. Okay. Now, imagine that I can't have, this is like a medical grade, the ABPM monitor, that's like a medical grade. You go to the doctor, they have you order it, you do it for a night, right? It's kind of expensive. A home blood pressure monitor, an HBPM, that's cheap. You could get one at Walgreens for $15, right? So the idea is in theory, if you press the button enough times throughout the day, you could calculate the curve during the day, but you want to find out what it's like at night.
Yeah.
Right? You want to find out what your nocturnal blood pressure is. So say you have an ABPM device that does calculate when you're sleeping, then in theory you could characterize the entire distribution of during the day it has this certain performance or this behavior, and then at night it has a different behavior, and you can make
extrapolate
you can gain insight from that. And if you use a functional approach, then it treats the data. There's certain qualities that make it more attractive and more predictive. It's more accurate, right? So that's something I'm trying to do, and I think that has a lot of application in business, with anything that deals with time-dependent data. So banks, energy companies, like tech companies, they all can benefit from it. So that's kind of a tangent, but that's like I'm really interested in that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
dude.
Data's going to drive the world, my guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like 5 years from now, I might have a different goal. But I think if you're the same person you were 5 years ago, you never grew, right? So you got to take the risk. You got to take a chance in the deep end. And so.
But is there a food you enjoyed as a child and now you still enjoy?
A food?
Yeah. Chocolate?
Chocolate's funny because I used to like milk chocolate as a kid.
Yeah.
And now I don't really like milk chocolate. I love dark chocolate.
You know, I think why? Because I also agree with this because you eating so much milk chocolate and you kind of know milk chocolate's bad for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
kind of your head is like, yo, you kind of like dark chocolate, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
probably, yeah.
Like I used to love white chocolate, like Hershey's and cream cookies and cream bar, that Hershey's bar, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I love that. I could eat like 12 of them. But now I can't even stomach one, you know what I mean? I'm oh, so bad for me. All right, tell the people what you're going to get from Wawa, and let's go get Wawa.
I might do another chicken parm sandwich. That's pretty damn
parms.
good.
I'm going to get a panini, my guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm getting a panini. I changed my
Yeah.
mind. That sounds good.
Well, John Schwenck, thank you for coming all the way here. Thank you for doing the
man.
podcast. It was a pleasure, dude.
Awesome time.
Oh man, you got this heavy ring on. This actually brings me to flashbacks of my mom beating me. All right, guys. Peace out.
All right. Later, everyone.